What is up, everybody? Here we are today. Legion's Arena May Day. Here we go. Here's Jeffrey, and of course me, Blade, your host. Say hello, Jeffrey.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Alright, guys, here we go. We're going to move over to the first game. There is a minute delay here today, you guys. Let's move on and have a look at the first game. Here we go, guys. First game. Ent Soldier on the left, taking on Andrew on the right. And we're looking at a Liang mirror. Makes sense, given that Liang is the best commander in the game. What do you make of these decks, Jeffrey?
You know, I gotta say that, so Andrew's deck is a lot more standard. Of course, Predator's a bit odd. I think I would like to see Pitbull there, but he does have Hammerhead to protect the Mammoth Tank, so once he gets to that point, it'll work from there. But then Ent Soldier running this really greedy deck. He's got APC as well as Razorback and Hammerhead and Titan. I think in general, late game wise, the Titan could beat the Mammoth Tank. Like, they're both going double harv, so economy wise they'll be even, but I think the Titan does win on economy. What do you make of this matchup?
Yeah, I gotta agree with you on this one. Titan being one of the classic counters to Mammoth. Titan has always been a solid counter to Mammoth Tank. It's just been the fact that before Razorback came out, there was no way to build a good Titan deck, basically. It was really difficult, you know, to build a good Titan deck. Titan also has received quite a few buffs throughout the history of Rivals to reach the stage it's at now. And obviously, the Liang buffs are a huge deal. Back in the day, long ago, Liang was an unplayable commander. And Liang is really what makes the Titan truly disgusting.
All right, well, we're about to get down to our first missile here of the first game of this great tournament. We got a Liang drone on that top pad. Predator tank slowly making its way, but a Liang drone from Ent Soldier comes out onto that top pad to secure it. And with all three pads held, that means Ent Soldier takes the first missile.
Yeah, and of course, Ent Soldier is probably the best Liang stealer in the game. If you guys know Ent Soldier, he loves that Liang. He plays Liang all the time. Loves to Liang steal. Here we see the first Titan comes out, takes down that Predator very easily. This is a huge deal. This, as most players know, in a tech mirror like this, what really matters is who makes more tech units. That's what it comes down to. It's always an economy war. The person with more tech units wins. But getting this Titan out first doesn't quite get to the Harvesters in time, though. If you'd managed to take out a Harvester with the Titan before the Mammoth arrived, that would have been absolutely enormous. But failing to do so means that this game is going to be a lot closer.
Yeah, I think you're right. So we see two Titans out on the field. We've got a Mammoth tank with a Predator tank coming from behind. These two Titans do need to make sure they create a concave, otherwise this Mammoth tank will get a lot more value. But we see here Ent Soldier getting them set up into position, destroying that Predator tank very easily. Now this Liang drone healing up both of these Titans, getting great value. But of course, Andrew using his own Liang drone to do the same thing. But as you see here, this Mammoth tank is about to go down. And of course, this Hammerhead is going to have no real targets. Of course, with only Razorback and Hammerhead in there. And really, all Ent Soldier needs is these Titans. So unfortunate for Andrew that he had to waste his money on that Hammerhead.
Oh, that's a bad miss on that Mammoth tank going in there. Doesn't want to get that. Doesn't want to get concave. Doesn't want to take two Titan hits every time he fires with that Mammoth tank. We're coming down to it now. Looking very close. Final missile. Sorry, the second missile. Andrew does just about sneak on with that Liang drone. I think that might be it. Does the APC take it down in time? It doesn't. Andrew stays alive in this game with a sneaky Liang drone.
That was super duper close. Like, I didn't really think who was going to take that missile. I wasn't sure, but very close. A nice comeback from Andrew there, as Ent Soldier was just a little bit late.
Yeah.
But yeah, you see two Mammoth tanks on the field, and you know, this is where things are going to get really challenging. As we see here, these Mammoth tanks are sort of squished over to that far right side, and as long as it's like you said, Blade, it's whoever gets more tech units out and whoever extracts more value out of them. And right now, I'm not really sure who's going to do it.
Yeah, the thing is, the Mammoth tanks, obviously, when I say more tech units, I don't mean just raw number. The Mammoth tank is like two Titans. So two Mammoth tanks should beat three Titans if the matchup goes the way Andrew wants it to. Obviously, it'll come down to micro, but Mammoths with that Raider. That double hit, by the way, absolutely huge for Ent Soldier. Getting two shots with one Titan, that could swing this matchup completely in his favor here. But yeah, it's going to come down to whose tech units live longer, and close at the moment, but it's looking good for Andrew. I think the Mammoths are taking over.
Yeah, the problem here is these, of course, it's really pop cap at this point because Ensorger needs to have 4 Titans for 2 Mammoths to really deal with them properly, but he is trying to compensate with Micro, but as we see here, the Mammoth Tank with its Raider functionality makes it a lot easier to maneuver around. But actually, having said that, we've got Ensorger with 2 Titans on the field, a Razorback and a Liang drone, taking care of that Mammoth. The Harvester pull from Andrew on the far right pad. These little drone storms are going to make their way over, and with no targets, and actually he's off the pads here, doesn't need to get on all 3, and maybe this Hammerhead's going to even things up, but of course now he clears that single drone swarm on the far left. We got that Liang drone healing up those drones on the top pad, and with Ensorger with all 3 again. Oh, hold on a minute, but a flip. Wait a minute, can he flip this pad? This Hammerhead's going to try and get onto the pad here. Is he going to clear this Razorback first? Of course, Liang drone does get on there. Hammerhead's going to clear to 1 shot, and another Hammerhead coming up from Ensorger here, trying to clear this bottom left, but we got again a nice stalemate from both players. This drone swarm at the top though is finally going to go down, and Ensorger's going to win the game.
Wow, what an insane game. As I was saying, that it really is an economy battle, and both players just harvested the map. So it actually came down to Andrew would have won that game if the map hadn't mined out, because he was winning the Mammoths and he just ran out of money on the map and could no longer make Mammoth tanks anymore, and then the Titans just took over. Alright guys, so here we go, Ensorger versus Andrew game 2. Ensorger sticking with that Liang. Andrew feels betrayed by his GI here, I'm guessing. Very disappointed with how that game ended up. Probably quite mad that his Mammoth tanks got wrecked by Titans. He's decided to go back to Nod, which I believe is his favored faction. From experiencing ladder play against him, I believe this Fnatic deck is where he likes to be.
Yeah, this should be a pretty interesting matchup. The only problem for Ensorger is he's brought Slingshot. Pitbull would be far better here, of course, but you know, it's not like he knew what he was about to face. Having said that, though, really, I think this is going to be, again, another Fnatic stank versus probably Orca and Missiles in this case, with Razorback to come in. And it's, you know, this is going to be another game like the first one we just saw. It's going to come down to who makes the better choices. It's really not clear-cut who's going to win based on the deck here. Again, it's just going to come to better positioning and who makes some more mistakes, I think.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you on that one, Jeffrey. This matchup, it's a little bit weird. I gotta say, I think you're a little wrong. I think the Nod player is very slightly favored, but I agree with you that it's close. I agree with it's close.
Okay, well, first missile coming down. We got those wheels boosted, jumping onto that middle pad. This Razorback with the double missiles, though, should secure the missile. I don't think we can see a way for Andrew to make it on, and nope, there it is. So Ensorger once again taking the first missile. Well done to him.
Yeah, Ensorger with the classic missile plus Razorback combo. Having said what I was just saying about the decks, I do think the Fnatic stank is a little bit favored in this matchup now. Having said that, this map is fantastic for the Razorback deck, so that probably evens it out again.
Right.
Those rocks in the middle, they make it such a nightmare to chase down the Razorback. The rocks plus that nuclear missile at the top gives you such a narrow choke point that's so easy to block with missiles. So yeah, actually, I hadn't considered the map when I said who I thought was favored, and I do think the map does heavily favor Ensorger.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the big problem, right? Because as you said, those rocks in the middle are going to create a retreat point for the Razorback, and that's very, very important because once you get those missiles into position, all the Razorback has to do is radar around them, and makes it very, very easy to get value. And here we see the stealth thing coming down, only getting 2 missiles off on the Razorback, and of course, Ensorger's got Liang drone on his side, so he's going to use that just to reheal them, and he should be able to protect those units before the stealth tank reloads. And here we see this Orca in a great position. Stealth tank can't move up, so here this is a big problem for Andrew. He's not able to push onto these pads. We got this Orca moving onto this top pad. It's going to clear the stealth tank. That's going to get it out of the way. This Predator or this Scorpion tank is going to be a little bit slow, but APC manages to block it off the pad. But of course, this Razorback on the bottom left secures all 3, and that gives Ensorger another victory.
Wow, and once again, guys, APC OP. As we all know, APC, of course, is an extremely strong unit.
All right, so we got Spark versus Sin 1. We got a Solomon Mirror. You love to see that. Actually, this should be great, especially here on Warshot. This is going to be great, so let's have a look at these decks. All right, so very different decks from both players. We've got a deck that focuses from the air and a deck that focuses from the ground. So we've got MLRS versus Borka, and very unfortunate for Sin 1 to bring MLRS to the Borka fight because the Borka is going to be far better in general. Even though he does have Slingshot, the fact that it costs 60 now does make it significantly worse against Borka, because to beat Borka with Slingshot, you got to build 2 of them, and that's 120 for 110. So you know, it's not really going to be great value-wise in terms of that. So we'll see, though. If Sinwon can get into position first, maybe he can come out early and get an advantage. But what do you think of this matchup, Blade?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty interesting matchup. As you say, the MLRS is like Sinwon's key unit, and it's very good on this map. But obviously, Spark with the Orca Bomber has a very clean out to that unit. But then Sinwon does have that Talon, which not only does it kill the Borka, that's not actually the important fact here. The important fact here is that Talon can block the Orca Bomber. So
true, yeah.
What Sinwon wants to try and do here is set up this MLRS in a nice position in the middle of the map, and then have Talons in front of it so an Orca Bomber can't reach it.
All right, well, this first missile coming down. We've got Spark on all 3 pads. Of course, nice jump jet placement. And those snipers clearing those missiles gives that first missile over to Sinwon. Really well played.
Yeah, Spark there, he had good map control. And he accidentally snuck that Pitbull off the right-hand pad. Sinwon, seeing this, took massive advantage of it, immediately blocks with the snipers, doesn't let him back on there. And that's actually what ended up costing him that missile. So a little bit of misclick there from Spark.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all it takes, you know, game of rivals, one little misclick and it'll cost you the missile, and sometimes the game.
Absolutely. Yep. So we're going into the second missile now, of course. It is also important to note that since both players are playing Solomon, I think that has to favor Spark, really. I mean, if you're the guy who's trying to break the setup unit, then having Solomon is amazing. Whereas Sinwon Solomon, best case scenario, he probably snipes a Borka in transit. I don't really know what else he's looking for out of an ion cannon.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think, I think Spark's ion cannon's a little bit better because, of course, he's got more targets. And Spark's main unit here is the Borka, which we still haven't seen come out. And he's got lots of money in the bank. He's got 250 Tiberium. So actually a little surprised to not see him build it here. In fact, he's concentrating on these really cheap units. And I mean, sure, he probably wants to have his ion cannon ready to go along with Borka. But yeah, so far not seeing it come out yet.
Yeah, and really quite a big back and forth here. Sinwon really just hasn't tried to re-up that MLRS yet. He looks like he just wants to play a mobile unit game instead. Maybe not too happy with how the first MLRS performed. Losing it to those missiles sneaking around the top. Maybe just doesn't want to risk it again. Just wants to keep the pressure on. Keep it an aggro game.
Well, speaking of pressure, so far Sinwon doing a really great job of pressuring the pads with these jump jet troopers. It proved to be a big issue, but here we got an ion cannon coming down. It's going to clear that Pitbull. But of course, Sinwon just gets those jump jets on there, and he's got almost 2 pads, but a Borka coming out. It looks like he's going to wreak havoc. And hold on a minute, clearing the jump jets, and Pitbull gets onto that middle pad, and there we are. Spark takes the second missile.
Yeah, and you've got to figure that Spark is sitting on 400 Tiberium here. A little bit surprised to see. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't throw an ion cannon out as well. Just, you know, guarantee that missile. It's not like he can't afford it.
Yeah, that would have been a nice flex.
Yeah, well, I didn't mean as a flex, you know, I just meant like as a, I've got money to burn, I might as well guarantee myself this missile. I mean, if he loses the game with 400 Tiberium, that's going to feel pretty stupid.
I agree, yeah.
And
Sinwon... He's got so much money, so...
Yeah, and Sinwon's probably kicking himself for firing off that ion cannon, then sees a Borka coming in and probably wishes he had that ion cannon back.
That was a decent ion cannon. Of course, Sinwon's a little bit low on money, as you see. He's just over 100 Tiberium, so he's got to be real careful of expending his resources. And he did get that one Borka, so not too bad, but you know, he might have it in time for this third missile. We'll see. This Borka on this far left does drop its load, and you know, he does need to have it ready to go for that third missile, so the timing wasn't so bad. But here we are. We got Sinwon pushing out these cheap units once again. These jump jets doing real work against these Pitbulls, and Spark continuing to push out these Pitbulls. May not be the best choice here. All Sinwon needs to do, and now we got double ion cannon coming down. It's going to clear so many units. He's going to get off the pad first. We got a Talon with a Pitbull. The Pitbull's going to win that matchup. Jump jets going to that middle pad. Talon coming behind. Can the dogs get there in time? And oh no. Spark takes the third missile, getting that first victory under his belt. Well done.
I gotta say, man, I enjoyed that game a lot. That was a thoroughly enjoyable game. I love seeing the double ion cannons. Love seeing ion cannon versus ion cannon.
Yeah,
it was just great, man. That was really good to see. Pinging the host. Here we are, second game. Let's get on into it.
All right, we got number 2 of our second game, our second series here. We got Spark against Sinwon with another Solomon mirror. All right, so of course, it was a very, very close game in general. So yeah, I'm not surprised to see both players going with exactly the same deck. And well, we are in a different map though. We're not on Rorschach. We got a map here with 3 pads, but they are very spread out. So Solomon's not going to be quite as impactful, but still going to be a great tempo play.
Yeah, and again, I mean, if you don't love to see a Solomon mirror, then you are heartless. I'm just gonna say it.
Right.
If you don't like a Solomon mirror, you're tired of rivals, right? You're tired of life if you don't want to see a Solomon mirror.
100%.
Interesting to see the same decks again. Like Sin 1, I gotta say, man, that first game, Sin 1, he made like one MLRS, and it was okay, but he lost it in a like pretty unfortunate fashion. And he just never rebuilt it, which I was really surprised by.
Yep.
I genuinely think that he had trouble against those pit bulls, and he never rebuilt that MLRS. And now he's bringing the same deck on a map where the MLRS is even worse. So I don't really know what the logic is there. He's gone, okay, my MLRS wasn't great last game, and that was a really good MLRS map. Like, he wasn't happy with it. He didn't want to build another one. And now we're on a map where it's worse, and he's bringing it again. I'm surprised to see that.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. Well, let's see who takes his first missile. We have a little flip going on here, but I think what's gonna happen is we're gonna move on to the pads at the last moment. But these 3 Talons, with nothing to shoot up from Sin 1, means that they're gonna be pretty good. We've got a Pitbull coming out as well to deal with that incoming Talon from Sin 1. And, of course, the Talon's gonna clear that jump jet. And unfortunate for Sin 1 here, he loses the missile.
Yeah, and I'm not too surprised to see that. The Pitbull's early game dominance is so strong in this matchup. And Sin 1 just does not have a clean answer to it. The best thing he has is these jump jets. But Spark is doing a good job of just keeping that Pitbull moving. It's got Raider. It never needs to engage a jump jet trooper. It can just run away. That's what's happening. Yeah. And this is a classic example of things that happen in Rivals. Here's a lot. This is why decks that contain missiles or Grens or jump jets still need something else to kill Raider units, because Raider units will never let those units engage them. They'll just keep moving. Yep. And jump jets are the best one because they're the fastest. They have the best chance to engage those units. But even here, you can see Sinwell's having a really hard time engaging these pitbulls, and they're causing absolute havoc for him.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing about Pitbull. Like you said, with Raider, it can keep moving while it shoots, and these jump jets have to stop before they can shoot. And yes, they are fast, but you know what? Again, like we're seeing here, these jump jets are just not getting as much value as we would like. But nice sniper placement here from Sin 1. These double snipers can shut down any infantry, but Ion Cannon coming down, and Spark backs off. And unfortunate for Sin 1, he only got those dogs. And so these 2 Borkas should be game over here for Sin 1. They're going to clear both of these pads. These snipers can't hold on, of course, and Talon's just not going to be enough. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, so close there. Nearly flipping it. Those double Talons were just about there, but no, the rifleman on the left pad there secured the game for him.
Yep, and there it is, guys. Spark does take it 2-0.
So, yep, as predicted, we got Biao playing GDI Jackson, which is his comfort deck, and then Charlie going with Liang GDI. So, probably going to see maybe Borka or maybe Mammoth. Let's have a look.
Is Borka.
Okay. Yep, Borka versus, well, this is Biao's classic deck here. He likes to run exactly this here with, you know, this is a pretty old school deck. If we were going back a year, this would be a pretty standard deck to play. But yeah, like you say, these days, not so much.
Yeah, that's exactly it. This deck was extremely strong during the Shock Predator era, when everyone was playing Shock/Flame plus tanks. This deck was fantastic. And that was a really long period of time, by the way. We had that meta for a very long time. Back in... Yeah. I don't know, January 2019, was it? I think.
Yeah, it was December. It was about December until March.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It was like three or 4 month period. Obviously, these days we have longer metas due to the unfortunate infrequency of patches. Back then we had a patch like every month, and this meta was still around for about 3 months. And this deck was great. Yeah. It's a great deck back then. Unfortunately, this deck basically hasn't been good since March last year. So.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately here for Biao, of course, this Predator tank doing a really good job, and they got into position first, so he's got that middle pad and the far right pad with the dogs. Biao does try to boost this Predator tank in desperation, but a little bit egregious there. However, does manage to clear the Predator tank, so not so bad in terms of a trade. Yeah,
he basically spent 30 to win that Predator mirror, and again, back in March, this was how games played out. Like, you would boost your Predator to win your Predator mirror. That was a very important play, but both players were doing it. These days, it's less about that kind of stuff. Now, interestingly enough, in the Predator mirror, traditionally, the Jackson ends up being better than the Liang. And the reason for this is that the Liang often doesn't heal quickly enough. If you've watched how this fight goes down, these Predators, even though Reno has a Liang on his Predator, Fire's boosted Predator still almost takes down both of them, despite being unfavored in that matchup. That was like a 2v2 where Greeno had both his tanks in play sooner. The Liangron just doesn't heal enough, basically. Like, the Predator still ends up going down, even with the Liangron. He lost 2 Predators underneath the Liangron to the Jackson boosted Predator. And that's generally how tank wars used to go. And this is one of the main reasons that Liang wasn't that good. because Jackson Liang's just killed them too quickly for the Liang to be relevant.
Now you gotta love this fight here from Bia. He's really
Oh,
pushing hard
no,
here.
there's the Liang drone.
Liang comes in, does what it does best, takes that far left pad, and of course this means that Bia doesn't have a good option to fight it. And well, Charlie takes a missile, but I gotta say, as much as we were dogging Bia throughout this match, you know, that second missile there, he really made a good push there. He tried to throw the shocks onto the snipers, but Charlie pulled his Predator tank back, swapping the units back and forth, and he actually got better positioning as a result. But, you know, Bia, using a slightly weaker deck, did actually push pretty good. So it wasn't as much of a stomp as it looked like. I think this was a pretty good game overall.
Establishing battlefield control.
Here we go,
All right,
everybody.
Here we go. We got Bia versus Charlie, match number 2. Bia has made a change over to Liang, so that's a great change. And then Charlie going over to Seth Nod. That's an interesting change here on side by side.
Yeah, so side by side, of course. Me and Sarpedon had a bit of a map discussion yesterday about which maps we should remove from the tournament. And I basically gave him, like tier listings. I was like, okay, your tier 1 banned from the tournament maps, that's like Center Rally, right? And maybe Hidden Gems. The maps that just no one ever wants to play on, they're absolutely horrible. So those ones, like, you should definitely just get rid of them. And I was like, your tier 2 maps, the ones that, like, every time you load into them, you're like, oh god, this map. That's side by side, neutral zone. He obviously decided to leave those ones in. Now that makes me think we also have the tier 3 maps in here, which are the ones that I think are okay if you know you're going to be on them. Which is things like Canal Row and Middle Oasis. So, based on the fact this one's in the map pool, I think the only things we're not going to see today are Center Rally and Hidden Gems.
Well, we got this first missile coming down, and Bia not able to fight these pads. He's, of course, using this War Factory MSV deck, which really favors itself on maps where the pads are close together. So I'm a little surprised to see him choose this for side by side. I think, you know, if I was going to be a betting man, if I was going to bet on Bia, I would expect him to maybe put the MSV closer to the base, as opposed to trying to put it closer to the pads. That way, every unit that comes out just gets a boost and gets the pads a little quicker. But I think this is going to be a pretty tough matchup. I mean, Mutant Marauders are quite good. Boosted Shatterers will beat them, but it's really the separation of the pads here, I think, is what hurts Bia the most.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I am very surprised to see Bia bring this deck on this map. Because this is a horrible map for 2-range units. And he's playing a Fortress deck here. And you can see how hard it is for him to get onto these pads in time. This Shatterer might just about live long enough, but the bottom pad has also got a laser drone. Slingshot comes down to clear those up. It's in a very nice position. It cleans up. Oh, he moves it though. He would have cleaned up those top ones as well. Gets onto that bottom pad, but here comes some Marauders. Can he get a Shatterer there in time? He's kind of broke. Looks like the dogs are going to hold long enough, and Bia does take the second missile, bringing him back into this game.
That's amazing. What, you know, I gotta say, I really thought Bia was going to lose it right there, but
I agree.
You know, again, he's placed his MSV close to the base, which meant that his units could get onto the pads faster, and that is the direct weakness that he's got with almost all of his units in his deck, except for dogs. And you know, the fact that the Shatterers got the boost, got the extra movement speed, same with the Slingshot, they got into position a lot faster, and that allowed him to actually secure these pads. So you know what? This isn't that bad of a strategy, and on top of that, these 2-range units can shoot over the missile silos. So you know what? I think Bia might take this.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually looking okay for Bia, and obviously the later the game goes, the better it gets for him. It's easier to set up these units and as long as he can keep cycling through these expensive units over and over and over, he's in good shape. And Greeno actually tried to go double Harvester in an attempt to spam mutants, and it hasn't worked out because there's nowhere for the Harvester to go to get away from that MLRS.
All right, well, so that MLRS moves down to the MSV, getting that boost. Of course, he's going to get onto the pads now. Shatterer with MLRS proving to be pretty difficult here for Charlie. He's only got these laser drones as his only air option to deal with vehicles. But you know what? We're coming down to the third missile. Who's going to take it? So, of course, Charlie on 2 of the pads here. And you know what? Bia can't push. So there it is. Game goes to Charlie.
And here we go,
All
guys.
right.
General with that Liang, so I suspect we'll see his favorite deck. Swez bringing Oksana. Could be literally anything at this point.
3.
Yeah, I have no idea. Like I said, I don't know Sweats that well, but let's take a look. So, okay, we got Avatar versus Triple Tech. You know, I gotta say, I really feel like Sweats is favored here. The Avatar should be quite good, but Titan, you know, Titan's really good against Avatars. So, or actually, maybe you know this matchup a little better. Will the Liang drone overcome that matchup?
In my experience, I hate to be the Avatar guy going up against the Titan.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
Yeah, I hate to be the Avatar guy going up against. I think I'd much rather be General in this world. Avatar's expensive and less powerful than Mammoth. We've already seen Titan defeat Mammoth once today, and the Avatar is even less likely to do so than the Mammoth was. So I think Zeneral's heavily favored here. The fact that Swess has brought this deck, like, Zeneral normally brings the Kodiak, brought the Titan instead today. Even then, if you know your opponent's bringing a Kodiak, I don't think I want to be a Titan guy, an Avatar guy. I think I want to just be doing something else with my life.
Well, this all predicates on the fact that Zeneral's going to build Titans. If he decides to spend his money on Zone Troopers or Disruptors, it's quite possible that Swess's Avatar is going to overcome the game.
That is true.
So that's really what it comes down to. But here we are, we're coming down to this first missile, and Zeneral, of course, we've seen this missile charge not super efficiently, but fairly well. We're almost a minute 20 here, and this missile should fire at about minute 25. We got this Venom coming down to the pad here. We got this Pitbull coming to support. These Shock Troopers doing a good job against these lasers, but you know, there it is. Oh, hold on a minute. Pitbull gets onto that pad. It's going to flip, and all right, nice. There we are. Zeneral taking that first missile. We are in a tech mirror, though, so the first missile is really not that important. And wow, first Avatar already out. Ooh, that's not good for Zeneral.
That is not good for Zeneral. Although he might get this Harvester kill here with the jump jets. That's a big deal. This powers out that second Titan. That's what Zeneral needs here. First Titan will lose to the Avatar. Second Titan is what makes this matchup go in his favor. Although nice micro from Swez gets almost... Oh my god, he's annihilating that Titan. Beautiful. Wow, he almost killed the whole Titan. Wow, Zeneral must be kicking himself after that. That was an absolute nightmare for him.
And not even going to get the concave here. First one goes down. The Angel can't do anything. This boosted Avatar doing some real work. But the Titan's going to get another shot here, and it should clear it. But no, he just backs it off just enough to get out of the way. Swess here proving to be a very good micro player. And we got these triple laser drones coming out, and it looks like they should be enough to hold the pads. Pitbull shouldn't be enough. And let's see here. Boosted laser drones going to clear that Pitbull. But wait a minute. First one goes down, but never mind. Pitbull can't clear the second set. And there we are. Second missile goes to Swess. This is actually turning out to be a really exciting game.
And once again, the power of Raider shown. Avatar is faster than Mammoth. It's easier to micro it in a way that it Raiders against Titans. You saw there the Titan simply wasn't able to get the kills. West, of course, with that Harvester kill, absolutely critical. It might not look that important, but it all comes down to can he make enough Avatars. And Zeneral, this is one of the weaknesses of Zeneral's deck. Zeneral relies on the idea that his tech is going to overwhelm whatever his opponent does. His opponent can beat his tech, which is what just happened. Zeneral's units are really expensive. Everything else he makes costs 40, whereas Swez is making 20 cost laser drones. Now Swez has 2 Avatars out, and Zeneral only has 1 Titan. I don't know how Zeneral gets back into this.
I don't know either. We see the economy difference between these two players is huge. Of course, Swess coming up on top. He did have that Harvester idling for quite a long time, so he did lose a bit of economy, but it doesn't really matter too much because Swess is just dominating this game. Now, that Avatar explosion actually did some really good work, almost acting like a free ion cannon, and the second Avatar coming from behind should secure things. As the Iron Drone, of course, going to hold that middle pad, but it shouldn't matter. Harvester's going to try to get onto the pad, but it doesn't even matter. Doesn't get blocked, but isn't enough. And, well, Swess takes it. Avatar showing to be pretty good in this matchup.
Establishing battlefield control.
All right, up next, of course, we got game number 2. We got Zeneral versus Swess again, of course, and then Zeneral sticking to GDI. He's going to try maybe the same deck, or he's going to switch strategies up. We'll see. But then we got GDI Jackson from Swess, change over to GDI, so that's nice to see. And yep, actually quite a change here from Zeneral. He's opted to drop the, I believe no, actually he's put missiles into his deck, and he's dropped the Titan. So I think he's going to try and use something a bit cheaper, but you know, we got Zones and Mammoth Tank here from Swess. This Mammoth Tank is going to be absolutely destructive, but the Kodiak here from Zeneral, even though Kodiak's not great, the big problem here for Swess is he doesn't have a heavy anti-air unit like Hammerhead or even Slingshot to effectively deal with them. He's going to have to rely on Talon and Missile Troopers, and that's going to be pretty challenging. Kodiak does have enough health that it should be able to survive against both of those units quite reliably, while the Mammoth, or sorry, the jump jets might be able to take them out, but it's going to be a pretty tough matchup overall. I think Swess here is favored. So, coming into this first missile, of course, we got Swess on 2 of the pads, and Boosted Talon coming down to that middle pad as well. We got this missile stall here. Jump Jet's going to go over the far right and start charging over for Zeneral. It does favor Zeneral to charge the pads, so this is good for him. This Jump Jet's unfortunately going to go down, though. These Talons are going to flip the pad over. These Riflemen are going to move on to that bottom pad. Actually, it doesn't even matter. This Pitbull's going to try and engage, but isn't quite going to get there, and first missile does go to Swess.
Yeah, and as you were saying, the Mammoth Tank is absolutely huge. When you have these tech mirrors, whoever has the big dog unit tends to be the one who comes out on top. Now, the last game wasn't really a tech mirror because Swez was playing a super unit deck, which plays a little bit differently to a tech deck.
Right. That's true.
This is a true tech deck. Like now we're looking at a Zone Trooper deck. This is basically a GG deck, right? Except he has Talon instead of Drone Storm. That's the only difference. He's even playing the Jackson. So the fact he's playing Jackson is how you know this is a Zone Trooper deck rather than a Mammoth deck. Because if you're a Mammoth deck, you probably want to play Liang, at least in these tech mirrors. You can expect a tech mirror after last game. So the fact he's got the Zone Troopers means he's probably a Zone Trooper deck. Once he sees the Zone Troopers coming out from General, now you can see he's saving up for that Mammoth instead. He wants to run over these Zone Troopers. However, he keeps... I don't know what's going on. He boosted his Harvester. He knows he doesn't want to lose a Harvester, obviously, but... These two Riflemen, that seems like a big misplay. He needs to get this Mammoth out. Go for his own zones instead. Now there's a Kodiak. He can't make the Mammoth. He's gone for the zones instead, but you can clearly see this is not helping. General has complete map control here.
Yeah, that was a big problem there for Swess. He didn't get onto the pads in time, and then that allowed General with his big, huge, expensive units to get there. But yeah, like you said, Swess really needs to get to his Mammoth tank, and finally has. And actually, I really like this play from him. He got rid of that Kodiak with his zones, and now this Mammoth is going to clear this Harvester. And General has a Harvester idling on that bottom left. So now General's economy is going to get completely shut down. Swess has both Harvesters harvesting, and so General's going to have to rely on this Kodiak and Zone Trooper to win the game.
This play to go for the Harvester and then go for the base trade, I don't know, man. I don't know who wins this. I think the Kodiak comes out on top. I think the Kodiak wins this base trade.
It's very close. So close. Should finish it up, and there it is.
I gotta say that one is on Swez. He misplayed that game. That's just Swez's fault. Like, he should have won that game, and he screwed up.
Yeah.
That first Mammoth, just running away from his opponent's Zone Troopers. What are you doing, man? There were shocks and zones on your zones. Run them over and then go somewhere else.
Establishing battlefield control.
All right, here we go. Game number 3. Our first series broadcasted to go to 3 games. We got General here sticking again with GDI. He's going to keep trying to win with that, and Swess going back to Nod. So let's have a look here and see what kind of decks we're going to have.
Objective received.
Okay, so General is using the exact same deck. No changes there, but Swess has completely changed. He's gone into Fnatic Aggro, and you know, it's really tough to say. I think Swess does have the upper hand here as long as he realizes he's up against tech.
Gone for the Fnatic deck with Banshee as his last unit.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty interesting. You know, I actually think if he's done this with General's deck in mind, I quite like it. But if he's doing it because he likes playing Banshee, I'm not a fan. But if he's done it thinking, you know what, I want something that will kill the Kodiak and also be decent versus Pitbull, which is what General often plays as his big anti-air, like other than the tech units, obviously, then I think it makes some sense. But yeah, we'll have to see how it plays out.
Now, I didn't really like that play with the Cyber Wheels going after the Harvester. Very unusual play, but thankfully General's pop capped, and he couldn't build enough units to contest the pad. So, of course, Swess does take that first missile. We're just over 55 seconds now. So that was great timing for him. And he just needs to make sure he keeps continuing to charge this missile. But, yeah, it's looking so far so good for Swess. Oh, what's going on here? So we got these Fanatics coming down with the Stealth Tank, and this is really the thing that Swess is trying to accomplish with these Fanatics combined with the Stealth Tank. Now, the one thing I've seen with players using this deck is most players do not use Stealth Tanks correctly. They end up losing a ton of value because they just let them die, or they don't combine them with the Fanatics to get the boost. So we'll see if Swess understands that game plan.
I hate this play of sending the Stealth Tank to the Harvester. I hate this play so much. Like, Swess doesn't even need the money. The reduction on your opponent's economy by killing a Harvester is pretty small. And a Stealth Tank costs 100. Like, he just had to spend another 100 on a new Stealth Tank. And now, I mean, he has infinite money right now, so it's not that big a deal. But why on earth is Swess got 2 Harvesters?
That is a great question. I'm not so sure. He should throw one of those Harvesters onto a pad, but because as we see here, we got these Zone Troopers coming out in numbers. Zone Troopers are going to be very good if a whole bunch of them get onto the pad. They can pretty much beat everything. So, you know, Swess got to be real careful. And here we are coming to the second missile. Liang drone onto that top pad. Zone Troopers clearing that Pitbull. And, well, oh, wait a minute. A little bit of a flip here. Liang drone moving off the pad. I'm not sure why that was, but Pitbull comes into the back, and there it is. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going back and forth. Oh, finally.
Wow,
all right.
General
finally takes it.
General just didn't want to win that missile. He had it, and he just kept trying to give it away. And Swez here, I was looking at his pop cap thinking, why isn't he spamming more units? And then I see 2 Harvesters and infinite money. Yo, Swez, man, I don't know what you're doing, but you lost this game when you built that second Harvester. I'm just throwing it out there. Like, that's why you lost this game. You would have had enough units to contest that missile if you didn't have a second Harvester. Now there's a Kodiak on your base, and you are dead. Yeah, and I don't know. You have 400 Tiberium. Well, I guess 2 Harvesters helps you with that. But I like, why? What are you doing, Swez? And there it is.
This ain't looking good.
Why did, I'm baffled by his choice to have 2 harvesters. That made no sense.
All right, here we are. So our next match, we've got Thabadoo versus Metahan 2013, and it's going to be a GI Jackson mirror, which you know, you don't see these very often. So it's nice to see no Liang, you know, in a GDI mirror. So that's great. And let's have a look at these decks. And oh my, okay, it's going to be very difficult for Metahan, I think.
Yeah. Well, so it's hard to say, right? Because this is a map where Fortress is very good. And Metahan is bringing Fortress, so...
But no MSV, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, it's rare that I'll say it, but I think in this deck, you probably should have an MSV. But I don't hate it still, I don't hate it still. I think the overcommitment of Dog, Shatterer, and APC as anti-infantry is too much. You only need 2 of those free. You need the Dogs for early game, then you need Shatterer or APC to kill missiles. You don't need both.
Right.
But, I mean, Thabadoo, he's got the Borkers, and he's double halving. So, I don't really like his deck. Borkers are really expensive, Hammerhead's really expensive, and then you have 2 tech units as well. I don't know about that. But having said that, Borker's going to be insane in this matchup. Absolutely insane.
It should be. Yeah, so here we are. First one coming out. It's going to clear this Shatter. The single dog is going to get on the far right pad, install it, and then these drone swarms are going to flip the pad. MLRS can't shoot up. The slingshot, I don't think it's going to clear in time. Doesn't matter. He backs the Borka off and has 2-3 pads. So there, that first missile does go to Thabadoo. Not really too surprisingly, because just Borka is insane.
Yeah, and Metahan also sent his MLRS over to kill Harvesters. He gets one half. No. He gets 1/2 for the deal. But I don't think that's worth it. Like, if my opponent wants to give me 80 Tiberium, wants 80 Tiberium for the missile, I'll make that trade every day.
Right. Yeah, and you know, like we just saw there, the Borka, unfortunately, it started firing a little bit prematurely because there was that low HP MLRS which got cleared by the missiles instead. But then that Borka lost value, Slingshot got into position and cleared it, so not great value there. It did win him the missile though, so maybe not terrible. But you see a second one coming out does clear that that MLRS, but this boosted Slingshot doing some really great work. And you know, the longer reload speed of the Borka now at 12 seconds means that these Slingshots being in position are going to be pretty good if the Borka is reloading. So overall, looking pretty good for Metahan here, but this second, or this, I think, third Borka now coming in, clearing the APC, will clear the missiles as well. One more drop, and it does. Pipple gets onto the far left, but Drone Swarm coming up to the middle. This Borka needs to move over, but these Slingshots going to come up real strong here, going to clear the Borka and the Drone Swarm, and there it is. Second missile going to Metahan.
Yeah, and I gotta say, obviously, I feel like the MLRS going on for the Harvesters on the first missile wasn't necessarily the best play, but Metahan has kept that pressure up. He's managed to really stifle Thabadoo's economy here, and that is critical, because now Thabadoo is really struggling to get that Borka spam going, which is what would win him the game. So it actually, the way the game has played out, I think killing those Harvesters has worked out quite nicely for Metahan. Unfortunately, Thabadoo goes into a Ruptor, and I don't know, Metahan with the sick Harvester micro to prevent it getting to the base. I don't know, man. I don't know if this MLRS does it. Let's find out. I think it does with the boost. I think it stops this Ruptor. Yeah, and Thabadoo has put all of his money into this Ruptor. Here comes another Borka. And it clears stuff in time. It does.
Gets into position, clears the APC, Slingshot as well. Missiles go forward, it's going to go to the far right. And, well, Borka's going to win this damn game. There it is. Holy cow.
Wow, and there it is.
What a turnaround at the end there. Wow.
Yeah, that Disruptor distracted Metahan, and 2 Borkas just cleared everything. And as we said at the start of the game, Borka is just going to be insane in this matchup.
What a great game that was, actually. Like, Borka's just disgusting, but you know, there was so much counterplay going on at the end with that Harvester blocking that Disruptor. That was awesome to see. But then, yeah, the Borka coming in at the end just does what it does best. Well, speaking of that, we're going to get our next game underway. We got, of course, Thabadoo versus Metahan again, and we got a Nod Mirror this time, so you love to see that. But let's take a look at these decks. Oh my. So we got Avatar coming in for the second time in this tournament, or at least from the broadcasted games. And then we've got Metahan going with a 5 War Factory deck. And I don't know about this. I mean, again, you know, the thing about tech is as long as you realize you're up against it, this is the macro part of the game, you know to charge the missile quickly, then Metahan should be in good shape regardless of the deck that he brings. But I don't know. Thabadoo hasn't gone for a second Harv yet. He's going to try and pressure these Harvesters, and I don't know. This is looking okay so far for Metahan.
Yeah, I actually don't agree with you that any deck is fine against tech as long as you know. Metahan's deck has no lasers, no phantom. He has no hard counter to Drone Swarm. Like,
that is true. Yeah, he has to rely on Stealth Tank, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Like, Stealth Tank, Bikes, and Buggy are all kind of bad against Laser Drone. Now, so far, Metahan has just been outplaying Favadu in the Bike versus Laser Drone matchup. Like, heavily outplaying him. Which is why we're seeing Metahan win so easily at the moment. Also, Favadu's gone for the double half, so he's unable to make as many laser drones. I think if Favadu was on one half and made just infinite laser drones and was parking them on defense instead of going in against these bites consistently, it would be really hard for Metahan to beat that. But I gotta say, man, I think Metahan's just playing better right now. I think he's just winning this matchup through skill.
I completely agree with you. Yeah, no, you're right. Like, it's not like you can just bring every single deck, and no matter what deck you bring, you'll be able to win against tech. Of course, you've got to have something reasonable. I think the deck that Metahan had is fairly reasonable, but, you know, you make a good point about the laser drones here, and the fact that he's winning against laser drones without a great answer like lasers does demonstrate that Metahan really is just playing better here. But Favadu trying to fight here. He's got these militants on the far left getting chewed up by the flames, and these laser drones really not getting much value with the buggy and bike combination. Stealth Tank on that back pad is going to be able to contest them, and here it is going to move in. It's going to clear this first laser drone squad. Favadu really desperately trying to push here, but these laser drones just not getting enough value, and well, Metahan takes the second missile pretty comfortably, winning this game without much effort.
Yeah, exactly as you say. Metahan, he dominated those laser drones, absolutely dominated them.
Okay, so we're going to do a redo. Of course, we already know the decks and the map, so we're not going to go into much detail about that. But, you know, Blade, maybe you can talk about what Metahan could do differently, or maybe one of the players could do differently to swing the matchup in their favor.
So, I think a lot of this is coming down to the fact that Metahan is dominating these laser drones from Favadu. So, this time Favadu has not opened laser drones. I feel like that's not an unreasonable plan. However, excuse me, his lasers are not going to beat buggies either. But I think a combination of laser and laser drone is where he wants to be. I think that probably is going to be stronger. If he uses both of them, then Metahan is forced to keep buggy interchangeably with the bikes. If there's ever a situation where there's bikes sitting somewhere, the laser drones can go after those. So the lasers can go after those, and the laser drones can go after the buggies. It's really hard to say though. Like, this has been such a dominant performance from Metahan in both games against the laser drones. Maybe the fact the matter just is that bike plus buggy beats up on laser drones. I mean, look at these buggies. They're doing really well against these laser drones again. And I think what Favadu needs to do if he wants to win this matchup is get the 2v1s. That's what punishes Buggy. Buggy wins the 1v1 easily, but it's very easy to get two laser drones on the same Buggy, and then you annihilate it, losing almost no models.
All right, well, we got this Phantom coming out. It's going to clear the bottom. Laser drone's going to get onto the pad as well. Bike's clearing those laser drones at the top. Boosted laser drones are going to try and get on the pad, but nice block. And all right, there it is. Metahan taking that first missile, but a little bit late. We are minute 20. However, second half just came out for Favadu. So actually, no, Metahan's got quite a bit of time on his side.
It's actually a rebuilt second half. Metahan killed the first one.
The rebuild.
Yeah. Oh, Metahan killed it with the Scorpion tank. Used the money to build the Phantom, the rebuild. Interesting enough, again, this time we see a ground unit blocking an air unit. Get the same mistake we saw last time, but reversed. This time it was Metahan blocking Favadu, the other way around. But again, guys, if you want to get a flying / ground through against the other type, just go past, go through it, man, go underneath. Don't try and move onto the pad, try and move through the pad.
Well, here we are, got these lasers coming up to that top pad, dealing some damage to the Phantom, and they're not getting on the pads just yet. Might be going for a flip, but does get them on there. These laser drones coming to the bottom pad. Double laser drone should not be enough against these buggies. Doing a pretty good job. There it is. So laser drones are going to try to inch forward again on the pad, but these bikes might actually beat the lasers on that top, but doesn't matter. This Phantom comes to secure things up, and the buggy secures that laser drone squad, and there it is. Second missile goes, and he wins it. All right, here we go.
All right.
Boswell versus Lepatka. We got two more Titans coming up for you folks. This is going to be a great match. Boswell, a very good German player. But we've got a non-mirror. Let's see what we have. All right, so Lepatka going with his patented Mutant Marauder deck. And then Boswell going with Fnatic Aggro. And, you know, this matchup's kind of close, but who do you give the edge to here? So
the thing about the Mutant Chuggy deck is it's usually very unfavored versus Fnatic decks because Scorpion. That's literally it. Scorpion, it used to be that Mutant and Chuggy beats Scorpion plus like Flame or Scorpion plus Militant, right? But when the Scorpion gets a Fnatic boost, it kills that Chuggy so fast that the Chuggy it goes down too easily, and then the Fnatics rip through the Mutants. Basically, it's like, it used to be Tank plus Militant, and the tank was too slow killing the Chuggy, and the militants were too slow killing the mutants. Now it's Fnatic and boosted tank, and they just rip through the Chuggy Marauder.
Well, speaking of ripping here, we got Boswell trying to contest these pads, but Mutant Marauders are going to come up on the back pad. Laser's clearing those wheels, and these Mutant Marauders are going to be able to block those boosted bikes. A very unfortunate boost there from Boswell. And there it is. Alpaca takes that first missile.
Yeah, of course, here, the interesting thing is Boswell doesn't have that Scorpion tank. So that key unit that beats the Chuggy Marauder just isn't in his deck. So what he's going to have to do is use either laser drones or stealth tanks to take care of those Chuggies. And that's going to be hard to do. That's what this game's going to come down to.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. I think, and on a map like this, the stealth tank could catch the chem buggy. It's not, you know, a totally choky map. It is to some extent, but here we might see that. So we got first stealth tank coming out from Boswell. It's just gonna go up to the back though. It's not gonna really try and engage anything. And look at that nice skin on that chem buggy. Actually, I'm not too big a fan of it, but it looks cool. It's different, so you like that. But these Mutant Marauders chasing away the stealth tank, really unfortunate for Boswell, breaking up his combined arms. And these laser drones, like you say, not really getting the job done. Although these bikes trying to chase him, not doing a great job. And these boosted laser drones actually doing some pretty decent work, but that chem buggy still lives. And we're coming down to the second missile. Can Boswell do it? Laser drones are going to go over that top pad, and actually is going to hold very well. These laser drones are going to lose to these boosted lasers though. The boosted Fenix come up as well. Can this chem buggy clear them in time? And oh, it's so close. And I think it will, but the laser drone's going to get on there and put the missile. There we go. Boswell coming back, winning the second missile, and we're going to go into our third missile of this game.
Yeah, and you could see how early in that missile, Alpaca was absolutely dominating it, and that was, as I said, the stealth tank simply couldn't kill the chem buggy. But Boswell went into laser drones instead, which is absolutely the correct play. When your stealth tank isn't working, you've got to switch to your other anti-vehicle unit. He goes into laser drones. Laser drones, of course, don't die to the mutants, and that ends up being critical in that matchup, because he had laser drones on that back pad with the mutants for the entire missile. That's what ended up winning him that missile. And the laser drones do actually kill the chem buggies reasonably well. This forces Alpaca, as you can see, he switched his composition into laser instead of mutant. Now, the reason this is very bad for Alpaca is that the lasers go down so much quicker than those mutants. Yes. You can see the Fanatics are actually ripping into them in a way they just don't kill mutants quickly. And this means that Alpaca his front line is a little bit weaker now, which means Boswell can take advantage of that as the missile comes to a close.
Well, here it is. We're coming into the third missile of this very exciting game. Alpaca really trying to push on. He gets that stealth tank on, moves onto the pad. Mutant Marauder as well. The camping on the far left. I think this means Alpaca is going to take it. Can those laser drones make it in time? And they do. They flip the missile over. Mutant Marauders move off. And Boswell takes it. Wow. Stunning comeback from Boswell. Really well done.
Alpaca's got to be kicking himself there. Doesn't get another unit back on that right-hand pad. He cleans the bottom pad. He clearly thought that he needed to get the mutant over to the left, and that was a strong, good play. It was good instincts. But unfortunately, he just didn't have the contesting. If he'd had anything on that back pad, because he cleared the bottom pad, he would have bought himself time for the mutants to get left. And you could see Alpaca trying to bring his harvester up, but it doesn't get there in time. Heartbreaking for Alpaca there.
We're going to be on Castaway, which does have that focal point. So I don't know if Alpaca is going to switch, but no, in fact, he has not. So here we are, Boswell versus Alpaca, game number 2. We got Alpaca switching over to GDI. Very surprised to see that. In fact, I think his combined arms deck here would work really well, but he could have been worried about, say, Solomon or Jade, which, you know, shut that down. So perhaps that's what he was worried about, but Boswell deciding that his first victory was good enough, he's going to switch into that same deck. So we'll see how this plays out. But what do you think of this matchup, the Suzaku APC with Liang versus this deck?
So again, the APC deck is another one of these decks that wants to play this combined arms sitting in the middle of the map plan. It's a little bit better at playing a slightly more spread out game plan though than the one Alpaca previously played, because you've got these fast air units that can go contest, you've got the Pitbull. He does know he's on Castaway though, so again, I agree, I'm a little surprised to see it. Maybe he thinks this deck will be a little bit stronger against, as you said, those area denial things. Maybe he's scared of Rockworm. That could definitely be it. Rockworm is fantastic on this map. His previous deck is like very, very weak to Rockworm. He does have mutants, but I actually think Rockworm comes close to beating mutants on V1, which is insane.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're probably right. Okay, well, we're coming down to this first missile. Drone Swarm going up to that middle pad are going to lose to these lasers. Actually, it's pretty close. These Fanatics are going to shoot through the bottom right lasers, but Stealth Tank coming in behind does a great job of clearing the pad, and there it is. Boswell taking that first missile pretty convincingly, and we're at a minute 10 as well.
Yeah, and Boswell, like you said, that Stealth Tank absolutely critically timed. Comes in right at the end of the missile. Alpaca loses all of his presence on the field. And yeah, it's rough for Lepaka. And Lepaka now, he's in triple building. This is what the GDI deck wants to do. It wants to be that triple building deck. The problem is Lepaka is not able to get that APC up and running because he's completely broke. He doesn't have map control. The APC deck is all about getting that APC up. It's all about getting the APC in the middle, forcing your opponent to expend resources on it, like stealth tank volleys. Once your opponent stealth tank volleys your APC, you Liang drone it, you heal it back fully, you have a chance for your Orca to come in and snipe. That's how you win with this deck. And Lepaka has not managed to get that APC up yet. And you can see how the map control is going back and forth. That's not what Lepaka wants. He wants to just be completely dominant on this map.
100%. Well, and finally, this first APC coming out might be a little bit too little too late. That drone storm needs to move into position. Finally does. The stealth thing coming up from behind, though, is going to be very good against this drone storm. Ling drone coming down as well to hold the pad, but can it be enough? And of course, the stealth thing could not clear the APC. Drone storm holding that top pad secured the second missile for Lepaka, allowing him to come back into this game.
Yeah, and the APC was not the critical factor there. Lepaka simply was able to take control of the map at the critical juncture. He had missiles in position to take care of the stealth tank. As we've said before, missiles, very immobile unit, but very powerful for their cost. You get missiles into... The player who has missiles or lasers in position near the end of the missile is usually the one who ends up winning that missile. Because it's quite hard to remove them unless you have the correct units. And people tend to spam fast vehicles to contest, which means that missiles and lasers are going to be super effective against them.
100%. Well, so far, Boswell doing a pretty good job of contesting these APCs. He's actually been able to remove them pretty efficiently. But Lepaka now is starting to ramp up his economy. Same with Boswell. I mean, he's got so much money. He could pull in Harvester here with no problem. But, you know, Lepaka should start to spam these APCs, as that is most likely the most difficult thing for him to deal with here. And a combination of that with the drone swarms and perhaps Pipples to support or missiles would be quite enough. But, you know, it's been a pretty even game so far. We got this Orca coming in as well. It's going to clear these bikes. So APC's going to hold on against those Fanatics. Something coming in is going to clear this Orca. So it's been a real back and forth game here. But overall, Lepaka's holding the pads quite well. He's got all three secured. APC's going to move to that bottom pad. Another one coming in from behind. Drone Storm on that top with the Liang drone to support. And we'll get on the pad, but that Fanatic with 1 HP survives. Stealthily comes in from behind. Really great micro here from Boswell. But it isn't quite enough. Lepaka's got the 3 pads with 2 drone storms, and that is enough. An APC, not even on a pad, still wins the game. All right, so we got game number 3 in this very exciting series. We got Boswell versus Lepaka and another Nod Mirror on our hands. We are here on Tide Pools, though. Actually, a little surprised not to see GDI to potentially steal pads, but all right. So again, Boswell using the exact same deck. He has decided not to change whatsoever, but Lepaka being the one to change is very interesting, and he's gone into a Fanatic Inferno deck. And, you know, on a map like this, I think Inferno is really good. It's so hard to say who's going to win this out, though, because both players have Fanatics. Both players have access to wheels. We got Phantom versus Stealth Tank, and Phantom's only going to be good against the laser drone, so that's a little bit of a drawback for Lepaka. But Infernos, once he gets those up and running, should be able to shut things down. But it's going to come down to micro, and of course, well, these are both good players, and it's rivals, so who knows?
Yeah, so what's interesting here is the Phantom, as you say, it's only got laser drones to target, but that's a good thing if you're Lepaka, because your Phantom is only in your deck to prevent enemy air units killing your Inferno. So if there are no enemy air units that can kill your Inferno, that's great. You just don't have to sink any money into Phantoms. You can spend all your money on Inferno spam, which is exactly what Lepaka wants to do here. Now, I personally think this favors the... I think Stealth Tank versus Phantom favors the... Stealth Tank versus Inferno favors the Inferno player, personally. So I'm interested to see how this goes. Obviously, it does come down to a micro battle. I think it's a little bit easier to be the guy using the Infernos than it is to be the guy using the Stealth Tanks. But we'll have to see how it goes.
All right, so of course Boswell desperately tried to fight for the pads using those laser drones, and unfortunate for him, that single Fanatic on that top pad was not enough to clear the lasers. The lasers were easily able to block. Although, of course, once the laser drones got cleared on that bottom pad, that opened it up for Lepaka to take the missile. So he ends up taking that first missile pretty convincingly. Yeah,
really dominant performance from Lepaka there. You love to see it when you're a Lepaka fan. He does make these Phantoms to fight this one laser drone. This is a big cost. He's basically spent 100 to fight a 20 cost unit. Now, what Boswell's likely to do here is simply not make laser drones after this first laser drone dies until the Phantom goes down. And he can continuously make this trade of 20 for 100. He kills the Phantom every time. And if Lepaka doesn't lose the Phantom, then he's just got a useless top cap sitting in the Phantom. So it's going to be very interesting. Here comes the first Stealth Tank versus Inferno. It's a straight trade, which I think if you're Boswell with the boosted, you're probably not that happy about getting a straight trade. You're probably looking for a clean kill.
Yeah, that pando pretty evenly for both, although like you said with the boost, Boswell lost a little bit more in that case. Although, having said that, that second stealth tank of his did clear that Phantom and a set of bikes, so actually he kind of evened up the economy there. But we see this Inferno on the bottom pad to clear these Fanatics. We got stealth tank coming up from behind. Needs to get onto the pad. It won't make it in time, I don't think. And, so close. But Lapaka, with just a little bit better positioning, manages to take that second missile and winning the series.
Wow, I really thought that was going to get there in time. I'm surprised by that.
All right, guys, here we go. Another Titan match on our hands. We've got Omlead with Kane in the left corner, with SRPSS and GDI Lang in the right corner. Who is going to take it here on Pillbox? Let's find out.
The doctor is in.
All right, so we got SRPS throwing emotes early, which is great, but let's just take a quick look at these decks. So we've got SRPSS not playing Titan, which is very unusual, but he is going with a pretty standard deck here, I think. He's opted to drop the missiles here for jump jets, which is kind of interesting, but he's got the dogs as well for his anti-infantry, so that might work out. But then Mutant Marauders here from Omlead with Phantom to back it up. Do you think that's going to be enough to overcome the Razorback Hammerhead combination?
Yeah, it's going to be hard to say. SRPSS playing this slightly weird dog Razorback as his anti-infantry deck. I've seen this from SRPSS a few times. I don't really know how I feel about it yet. I haven't decided. But Omlead, of course, Omlead's struggling a little bit with the masterful SRPSS. He's got some nice plays here, but he's going to lose all 3 pads. I don't see how he gets back on this top pad. Maybe these laser drones are in time. It's so close, just about in time. Pipple comes in, though, from SRPSS. Dogs go left. SRPSS looking like he's got good matchups all across the board, but an Obelisk, is it going to kill the Pipple in time? It is! Is there a flip? No, he doesn't get there! The rifles on the left die just in time. Oh, Omlead. I would have loved to see the Obelisk win that. Unfortunate. Very unfortunate.
It wasn't a bad Obelisk. It's
It was-
just,
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
losing that left pad was really what cost him. If he was able to hold that left pad, if he had laser drones on there maybe, then it probably would have worked out better. But yeah, it was close. And of course, you love to see the Obelisk.
And SRPSS almost loses a Pitbull to that Obelisk, but does just about notice it in time and gets out of vision range. For those of you who don't know, the way Obelisk works, once it locks on, it will always fire as long as the unit is in vision. If the unit leaves vision, the Obelisk doesn't fire anymore. But because there was no unit there to grant vision, the Obelisk did get messed up, and it did miss its shot. Oh, and that Harvester, the route is blocked, and it tries to go a different way, and that's going to really hurt Omlead. That's a lot of money down the drain.
Yeah, he's got to start relying on these very expensive units, that being, you know, Mutant Marauders and Phantom, because he really needs Phantom to deal with these Razorbacks. The bikes are just not going to get there. I mean, it's kind of unfortunate here, but these Pitbulls have just been doing some incredible work. And now we're coming down to a second missile here. The Mutant Marauders are way out of position, and SRPS has all 3 pads. Takes it.
Yeah, pretty dominant performance from SRPSS there. Not overly surprising to see a dominant performance from SRPSS. He is a dominant player. Yeah, a little bit unfortunate to see a couple of missteps there from Omlead. Really hurt him. That Obelisk was clutch, but didn't quite do it in time.
All right, folks, here we are moving into game 2 of this Titan matchup. Again, Omlead in the left here with Kane, and SRPS going again with Liang. You know, like we were talking about before the match here, we are expecting to see SRPS switch into Titan potentially because it's a little bit more favorable, but no, actually, he's going to go with Talon Razorback instead of Hammerhead Razorback. Of course, he felt maybe the Razorback was just, or sorry, the Hammerhead was a little bit too expensive. So he's going to try and rely on the Talon here. But Omlead pretty much going with the same deck here. It hasn't changed too much.
Yeah, very interesting that he decided to go for the Talon instead of the Hammerhead, like you say. Actually, could end up punishing him a little bit. Talon's going to be really good versus these laser drones and Venom as a cheap answer to them, so that's really nice. But you already have Pitbull that handles that job, right? Like, Pitbull good versus those light aircraft. And now the Phantom is going to dominate these skies a little bit. So it's going to come down to SRPS is going to be forced into this situation where if he wants to protect Razorbacks, he's going to have to use ground troops to do it. But that's okay. That's what a Razorback deck is looking to do most of the time anyway. So it's not a big cost. You're looking to do the missile combo anyway.
So far, SRPS, again, doing a really great job of getting the positioning. A nice block on that top pad with the jump jets. Bikes could not get there in time. And of course, with the docks on the far right holding that pad, that means SRPS got 2 out of 3, so he wins that first missile.
Yeah, really dominant opening performance here from SRPSS. This game has really shown the power of dogs. SRPSS really forced Omlead back with those dogs over and over. And Omlead decided to go bikes to fight the dogs instead of going into the mutants. I don't know if this is trying to mitigate the power of the Razorback or what the deal is there, but definitely trying to avoid it, which is interesting to see. Without those mutants, he was really struggling against the dog jump jet. And here we see some extremely aggressive pop capping from Omni.
Savage pop capping.
Yeah, and to be fair, SRPSS does exactly the same thing, so it's not completely insane to make this play. This is something that, you know, it can be very frustrating to play against, and Omni, probably having been on the receiving end of it more often than not, just wants to give SRPSS taste of his own medicine.
That's exactly what we're seeing, and right now Omni pushing back himself. He's got all 3 pads. His Phantom on that top, we've got the single Militant on the left, and the Militant and Bike Sword on the far right is enough for him to secure the second missile and pull himself back into this game. Phantom proving itself to be very, very good in this matchup.
Yeah, and the pop capping really paid off there. You saw SRPSS send all of his one-man units to the pads. Omni killed them all, which is what SRPSS wanted, but there just wasn't time to get back on the pads. And that is that is why the pop capping strategy is so popular. You make this play, you get the missile to 90%, then you kill their stuff. They just don't have time to get back on those pads. And here we go. You see Omni doing it. Omni's doing it again. He's left that 1 jump jet. He's left 2 dogs, knocking this jump jet down to 1. But SRPSS, I mean, he suicided that jump jet. We see a jump jet versus a rifle in the suicide war up top there.
There is some real nutty things going on in this game, but another obelisk coming down.
This obelisk is amazing. This obelisk is amazing. It's so good. The pit bulls are the only thing contesting. They can't contest against the obelisk.
Oh, but it's going to be so close. Double laser drone from Omni here, and he gets the laser drones on the far right. Should be able to deal with the Pitbull, but Harvester Pull coming in hot. Is it going to make it in time? But no. Unfortunately for him, SRPS could not get that Pitbull onto that top pad just in time. Harvester Pull was in there enough time, but just couldn't hold all 3 pads. And Omni comes back, winning game number 2. Congratulations to him on that victory. That was great. All right, here we are. Game number 3, the final of this series. We got Omni versus SRPSS again, of course. And Omni switching over to GDI Jackson, and then SRPS sticking with GDI Lang. You love to see that. All right, so let's have a look at the decks. And okay, very, very different decks. Like we talked about, SRPS has decided to bring Titan to the fight, and that might work out pretty well for him here, because I think the Titan's going to be very, very good against just about everything here. I don't know about the Grenadiers. Will the Grenadiers be able to deal with the Titans before the Razorbacks deal with the Grenadiers? I don't think so. I think the Razorback...
I think the Razorback Titan beats that. Now, what's interesting here is Omni has brought the Shatterer. Now, we talk about this a lot. One of the ways to negate a Razorback deck is to bring something that kills missiles whilst ignoring Razorback. So that's Chuggy, Shatterer, Venom, those kind of units, right? So he's brought the Shatterer specifically for that reason, I think. And here again, we see the most brutal pop capping on both sides. SRPSS has got some decent stall out of this matchup as well, so it's looking pretty good for him currently. Here comes that Shatterer.
Pretty good.
Now the thing is, normally the theory in this matchup is that you bring something that hard counters the missile, something that hard counters the Razorback, and something that hard counters the Razorback. Omni only has one of those 3. Maybe the Gren's hard counter the Pitbull, but he doesn't really have the answers to the Razorback. I don't think Hammerhead is going to be that unit. Obviously, Omni dominates first missile. SRPSS doesn't care. Just wanted to get his Titan out. Here comes the Titan. Omni immediately responds with the Grens. SRPSS has to retreat and wait for that Razorback. And this is where Omni's strategy falls apart, I think. He has no way to punish this Razorback effectively. The best thing he can do is Hammerhead. And Hammerhead's just going to run into a Hammerhead mirror. You want something that shuts down. I think the reason he went for Hammerhead instead of Sling was he doesn't want something that dies to a Titan. But now you're just in a Hammerhead mirror where your opponent has Pitbull support as well. And I don't know, man. Here comes the Titan going after that halve. As we all know, the Titan deck loves to kill halves. Once it kills the halves, it just makes infinite tech units and runs you over with the big boy Razorback Hammerhead Titan combo. It's going to be close, man, but the missile's getting there. The first Titan does go down. SRPSS hasn't re-upped. I don't know, man. This could go either way.
All right, so we got 3 pads taken by SRPSS. The Pitbull's going to move over. The boosted Hammerhead might be able to clear the Razorback, but it won't be enough. Come on, Grenadiers, move on. And is it going to flip over? But
oh, he was going for the flip and he missed it. Feels bad.
Double Razorbacks on the middle pad wreaking havoc, and that Harvester's going to hold for days. And now this Razorback does go down. Hammerhead on the far right, but Grenadier going down on that left pad to the Razorback's a big problem here. And now with this Pitbull and Razorback support, this is it. I don't know if the dogs can hold long enough, but this Pitbull, can it clear these Razorback in time? But it's not going to be enough. The Pitbull does deal with the Hammerhead efficiently, and SRPSS comes back. And now with all these Titans and money on under his belt, although he does have a single Harv at the moment, this may not work out for SRPSS, but it's not looking good either way for Omni here.
Yeah, and it looked it really looked like Omni was going to get that steal there. It might have looked to the casual observer, shall we say, that Grenadier micro wasn't great. It was sitting off the pad. That was intentional. Omni left that Grenadier off that pad on purpose to try and give SRPSS as little time as possible to respond. Unfortunately, he mistimed it by like 1/4 of a second, and the Grenadier got on the pad just too late to stop SRPSS's unit getting on the pad as well, and then it went into a big back and forth that SRPSS ended up winning.
This is, well, so far been a pretty tough game here for Omni. We're sort of seeing what's happening. You know, the Titans are just, they have too much health. That's really the problem here. Omni, even though the Grenadiers should be a direct counter to it, the Razorbacks are dealing with them too efficiently. And like you said earlier, Blade, the Hammerheads have just been, you know, it's been an even matchup in terms of that. So the Hammerheads for Omni have been very lackluster. And SRPS has just been using that to his advantage, and now we're seeing these Titans just starting to dominate. Economy's fully ramped up at this point, and SRPS has all the money he needs. He doesn't need this Harvester clearly, which is what he's doing. He's pulling onto this pad, which is great. And now this Liang drone is going to start to even up this matchup. But will this Hammerhead be enough?
Why did you move it?
Oh. He does clear the Liang drone. Hammerheads go up to that top left, but it's not enough. Omni's not on any of the pads. And, well, there it is. SRPS takes the game and the series.
Yeah. And not surprising to see the third missile be that dominant. Once the second missile fires in SRPSS's favor, as all of you guys, veterans of Rivals, will know, once the second missile fires for the tech player, it's usually over. The third missile is always a complete stomp. SRPSS utterly dominates the third missile.
All right, here we go. Alicia playing Oksana Nod versus Charlie Green playing GDI Liang. And you gotta love that Oksana skin that Alicia's rocking. It looks great. And, you know, this is going to be a very great match because Charlie, like Blade was saying earlier, has been a very strong tournament player. And Alicia being the best tournament player, this has got to be a match where Charlie's trying to make a name for himself. So this should be a great match to watch. And what do you make of these decks here, Blade? I mean, Alicia always brings out these very unusual decks. Having said that, Rockworm Splash here is not all that unusual on a 2-pad map. But then Charlie's actually brought a very much more standard deck. I mean, Rockworm against what Charlie's brought is going to be pretty savage because he doesn't have a great unit in air. But will Predator Tank beat it with Shade on Alicia's side? I don't know.
I don't think so, man. This Rockworm is going to be absolutely dominant. And Alicia, like you say, she does occasionally bring out these she brings out these decks that she doesn't normally play. But when she does, it's Titan and Rockworm, basically. That's what she does. If she doesn't play her standard deck, she's always bringing Titan and Rockworm. You'll never see Alicia play an aggro deck. She always plays mid-range. Like, her favorite decks are mid-range, and then she'll play tech when she isn't playing that. So you never see her playing a proper aggro deck, which is, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, obviously, she wins almost all her games. Like, clearly she's right. I'm just saying that you never really see that true aggro deck. So she does just abandon this first missile entirely. Can't fight this Razorback. Her only anti-air is Phantom, right? So she can't fight this Razorback. Just lets it go, goes double Harvester. She just wants to play Rockworm game plan. So now it's really up to Charlie to finish this game before those Rockworms are dominant. That's what it's going to come down to.
Yeah, and you know, timing-wise, the timing's not too bad. We're at 1:25 right now, and the missiles charge fairly efficiently, so Charlie's done a really good job of that, and these Razorbacks have been a big issue for Alicia. Her only major anti-air unit is the Phantom. Actually, yeah, besides that, it's only lasers, so she have to go into Phantom. She's not quite at a Rockworm yet. She still has to build her tech lab and hasn't quite got there, so, and this missile's just about to fire. I don't know. It's actually not looking great for Alicia.
Not looking great, no. Here comes the Rockworm, though. If this gets there in time, that could be all it takes, you know. Phantom goes down low. Rockworm takes top, but Liang's drone, is it going to be enough? Oh, the lasers are here. I don't think it's going to be enough. And can Greeno get on that top pad? Here goes the Razorback. Another Razorback to bottom. But the Shade comes in. Oh my god, what is Greeno supposed to do here? He needs missiles bottom, but then the top. He's got double Razorback. It's actually looking okay. If Alicia can get a Phantom, though, Phantom could take back these pads. Phantom goes bottom. I think this might be a misplay. I think she should have cleared top. Yes, Phantom's going to die now. The Phantom going down is absolutely critical. I don't know if Alicia can get another one in time. Double Razorback on top. I think Greeno's has it, boys. Oh, can he block? Block, Greeno! He doesn't block! Oh. Why are you blocking? Oh, I sound like Bike Rush. Block, Greeno! There it is! There it is! And he takes it! Oh my god, what a game. What a game. Alright, guys, here we are.
Alright.
Game 2.
We're on... Sorry, I'm messing this up. Yeah, we're on game number 2 here between Alicia and Charlie. Of course, this has been a pretty exciting series. That first game went to Charlie in dominating fashion, but, you know, big deck changes from Alicia. She's gone to a much more standard deck.
I'll take
back on the SRPSS Titan meta deck. Yeah, I've seen Alicia playing this a lot. I'm 99.9% sure the reason she started playing this deck is she just was losing to it. Like, she was losing tournaments to SRPSS when playing against this deck, and she didn't know how to fix it. Normally what she does, just adjusts her playstyle with her favorite decks until she works out how to beat something. The fact she switched decks makes me think she just couldn't figure it out. She just was like, I can't do it. Like, the matchup is bad. I can't win it. I have to switch deck. So now she's just playing the same deck, and that's a good strategy. Can't win against a better deck? Start playing the next deck.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense, and that's pretty much what we're seeing. So, I mean, as far as matchup goes, like, do you think Predator Tank's really going to matter? I don't think so. I think Titan reliably beats it, right?
I think Predator Tank will matter in the early game against Pitbulls.
Oh, yes,
But,
true.
Yeah,
True.
once the Titans roll out, I think Reno is in really bad shape. And honestly, this is one of the issues that GDI tends to have. Nod is a lot stronger at closing the game out quickly. GDI kind of sucks at doing that. So GDI tends to struggle because the tech units get out in time, and it's hard to fight them. All right,
well,
so
speaking of that, so we've got basically all 3 pads taken here by Alicia. This Razorback's been very impactful, and both players have gotten just about all their buildings open here, but doesn't matter. Laying drone from Charlie's a little bit too late, and of course he wasn't able to contest all the pads there with the Razorback and Hammerhead, so Alicia takes the first missile. A bit of a change from the first game.
Wow, yeah, really weird micro from Greeno there. I don't know if he was lagging or something. There was like a lot of delay on his Hammerhead, there was a lot of delay on the Liang drone, and there was a lot of delay on the Razorback. All 3 of those units, it just didn't move quickly enough. I'm pretty sure Greeno could have had that missile. The Razorback could have cleaned up the infantry. The Leandron could have contested. The Hammerhead could have sat on the pad with the Pitbull for long enough. I don't know what happened there, but he fell apart, and Alicia took first missile, and now the Titans are here. And I don't know how Greeno wins. Like, Greeno could have won. Greeno can probably win 1 missile against Titans if he plays it well. There's no way he wins 2. I just don't see it happening.
I agree. The one thing that may work out for Charlie, though, is the fact that Alicia's only on a single harvester here, so she can't spam these Titans as much as she would like. But having said that, this Titan's got all the health it needs, and Charlie has so far not been able to contest that. He doesn't open his War Factory, so he doesn't have Predator Tanks to come out, and he's been really heavily relying on Razorback and Hammerheads to try and win this, but it's not working out for him so far, and he's on any of these pads here. Razorback gets taken down by that Pitbull, and, well, Alicia takes that second missile.
Let's get going and find out.
Yep, let's do this.
Establishing battlefield control.
All right, game number 3 of this best of 5 series. We got 1 point each for these players. It's 1-1 so far. Charlie going into Nod, Oksana, and Alicia going to stick with Nod as well. Actually, no, that's a change from
switching on, yeah. That's the Rockworm deck. Oh, and it's a Rockworm mirror. Interesting. So, what's happened here, I'm pretty sure, Reno has gone, I don't want to lose to Titans, Rockworm Oksana beats Titans, which is true. I've seen that happen multiple times now. The Oksana Rockworm is very good against the Titan. However, Alicia has also played Rockworm. Now, the issue here for Greeno is that he's playing this Fnatic aggro deck, the 5-card Fnatic aggro with the Rockworm Splash. His deck, pretty weak to Shades, and Alicia's playing the air variant. So I think Alicia is just so heavily favored in the early game, and Greeno's answer to Rockworm is Rockworm, whereas Alicia's answer to Rockworm is Shade. So I think Alicia is heavily favored in this matchup.
Yeah, you know, you make a really good point there. I thought the Fanatics might shore up the early game for Charlie, but no, I think you make a very, very good point here. Venom here is going to be really good too as well. We see here it's coming in. It's going to start dealing with these Fanatics and clear them out, and that Venom's probably going to likely move over to the top pad. We have some pop capping going on here as well. Charlie pop capped these 2 wheels, then only 1 harvester harvesting with both of them super low health, making them low-hanging fruit here, which means Alicia's going to come in and start cleaning house. So first she takes down the bikes. This harvester finally moves into position, but the Shade and the Venom are kind of blocking its path, and now it looks like 1 volley and they're both gonna go down. Okay, it only does clear 1, but yeah, Alicia here really dominating.
Alicia taking these harvests is huge. It is a tech mirror. The person who gets more Rockworms is most likely to win. Alicia can deal with an early Rockworm with Shades. Charlie simply can't. Those 2 harvester kills are an absolute nightmare for Charlie. Alicia dominates first missile as well. Here comes a Rockworm. I don't know how Charlie comes back. And just to be clear, what we've just witnessed in this game, that absolute dominance at Charlie's harvester, is why this map is bad for 2 harvesters. You saw how Charlie was locked out of defending his harvesters by the lake, and Alicia just kept pressuring them, and Charlie, one of them moved back, and he couldn't even get back on Tiberium for ages. This is why this map is actually pretty bad for double harvester. It's so easy to lock your opponent out of defending their harvesters, and that's exactly what we see. And Alicia she makes the correct play to go 1/2 and just absolutely dominates here. And now she has more Rockworms, and that's all it's going to come down to. The person with more Rockworms is going to win.
Yeah, as we see here, we got two rockworms fighting each other. Charlie's does win, but doesn't matter. No, sorry. Alicia burrowed her rockworm, it looks like, came back up, and now she's dealing with this harvester. She's going to start clearing these lasers as well. Rockworm having great AoE damage against infantry, so it clears them very, very efficiently. We got another rockworm from Alicia. These rockworms have just been coming out in great numbers, and you got to love that skin on there as well. But here it is. That booster rockworm gets onto the pad. We got a venom coming to the bottom as well. Rockworm's going to clear these oncoming lasers in 2 shots. There they go. And this venom should hold long enough against these lasers, and well, I believe that's game. Oh, but actually, she is going to unburrow a rockworm. Doesn't really matter though. That venom cleared the Phenax on that bottom pad, and there we are. Secured the victory for her.
There it is. Alicia dominates that, and the fact is that Alicia had the better deck in the matchup, and she played the map way better. Just played the map better. That's what that came down to.
Let's get this game underway. We got Alicia again versus Charlie. This is game number 4. If Alicia wins this, she takes the series. So Charlie's up against a wall, and you know, this is going to be a real tug of war, I gotta say. We'll see though.
Hilarious. And we do in fact see the exact thing. Alicia brings the rockworm again, and Greeno's gone into Borka. Now this is going to come down to the air battle, basically. Greeno can only kill a rockworm with an Orca bomber, and Alicia has a phantom. That's what this matchup's going to come down to. Can Greeno control the skies enough to take out those rockworms? Obviously, rockworm also has the ability to burrow. You can trigger a Borka volley, burrow, and survive most of the damage. So, I don't know. It's hard to say. Maybe Borka is not where you want to be. Maybe something like an Orca. When it comes up, you can get a full volley on it. You can always deal damage. Maybe that would be slightly better. It's also cheaper. But the Borka will also be good versus everything else in Alicia's deck, right? Like, it's good versus 5 of her unit, whereas Orca would only be good versus 2 or 3. Interesting to see how this goes.
Yeah, I feel like the strategy that Charlie's got to rely on here is kind of what we talked about earlier, and that's ignoring tech units. So as long as Alicia's not able to spam rockworms to great numbers, and she's only on a single harvester right now, so that may be the case, Charlie will be able to get lots of value out of those Orca bombers because it'll clear everything else besides the rockworms, and that may be enough for Charlie to win. So we'll see how that plays out.
It is easier to simply all the pads and charge them until you make your second harvester. Once your second harvester comes out, you lose out on pop cap, and then it becomes harder to stop your opponent pushing you and charging. But early in the game, it is easier to stall than it is to charge. Alicia doesn't make 2 harvesters, she kills for a while. We're now at 130, the missile's not even half charged. Greeno actually goes for a second harvester. I don't think I like this play. And Alicia already has a rockworm for the first missile. This is absolutely horrendous for Greeno. And there's pop capping on these missiles. Greeno can't even make an Orca bomber. Ooh, feels bad to be Greeno right now. Here comes the Orca bomber. Is it going to be enough? There's the burrow we were talking about. He's going to kill his own missiles here, which is a good play. He needs to get rid of those things. But here comes the first rockworm killing a harvester. Phantom comes in with the bike support, takes out that Borka. Looks like Alicia's going to take the missile and kill the halves. And it's looking very bad for Greeno here. I think this might be over.
Yeah, I think so too. The Phantom there at the end was just super savage for Charlie, and he had 2 Borkas on the field, but you know, the way that this game has gone is because there's been too much stall. Charlie let this game go on for far too long, and you know, it gave Alicia all the time she needed. There was a window of opportunity for Charlie to really win this, but yeah, not surprising to see this happen.
Here we go, Lepaka versus SRPSS. Lepaka is 1-0 up. So very exciting to see.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, SRPSS, as we've seen before against Omlete, SRPSS is a pretty strong player. Omlete no slouch either. So yeah, this should be a great match on our hands. And well, we're seeing both these players more or less go with their comfort decks, actually.
I mean, SRPSS isn't bringing the Titan, which is interesting. Do you think that the first game, Lepaka brought this deck and beat SRPSS playing Titan, and that's why he swapped? I think that might be what happened.
Yeah, possibly. Like, it does seem unusual to me that he's not bringing Titan because he's been winning so many tournaments with it, but I think maybe people have started to figure out how to solve that puzzle.
Yeah, and this is what we've been saying so many times. The way to beat that Razorback missile early game combination is to have something that kills missiles without dying to Razorback. And the Packer has that Ken buggy. So I think what maybe happened is he just pushed SRPSS off the map and won the game quickly, and the Titans weren't relevant. But we'll take a look at the game after the series and we'll see what happens.
All right, so we got this first missile coming down with some more savage pop capping coming on. These boosted lasers are going to try and engage with the Pitbull, but it doesn't look like they're going to make it in time, although nice movement with those dogs. Great timing from SRPSS, a fantastic player in that sense, and allows them to secure that first missile.
Yeah, really, really nice blocking or slash dancing with that Pitbull. The Packer made the right play in response, though. He stopped trying to get on the pad, just boosted the lasers and let them fight. and they did take down that Pitbull, but just not quite in time. Very, very close, but didn't quite get it.
Yeah, and this is, again, great micro here from SRPSS using these stacked up Pitbulls to deal with the bikes. But now Lepaka is going to start to get his combined arms in place with these Mutant Marauders. And, of course, now we got a Razorback coming out from SRPSS. And the Razorback's, of course, a direct counter. But this is where Lepaka should really start to turn things up. And he really needs to get those Chem Buggies online to start dealing with those missiles. But really, all SRPSS has built so far is just Pitbulls and Razorbacks. And, you know, it seems to be working out for him so far, although he is pushed back a little bit.
Yeah, and I mean, Lepaka, the thing is, this map control dominance is good, but not that relevant right now. What matters is who dominates the map in like 10-20 seconds from now. But SRPSS, if SRPSS gets value by fighting near his base at this stage of the game, and then turns that value into map control later, then he wins. However, Lepaka has maintained this map dominance, and it's looking really close here. He might take this missile because of it. Oh, it's so close. No, there goes the bikes. And that's it. SRPSS swings it.
Yeah, that was a great swing from SRPSS. And, you know, it really did look like Lepaka had it there. But as you saw, his units were starting to get gunned down. SRPSS winning those matchups.
All right, so here we go, guys.
Here we go.
Okay.
Lepaka versus SRPSS is going to be really, really good. It's been a great series so far, but, you know, a little bit of a change here, I think. We got Lepaka playing Nod, which is great, but, you know, we were discussing this before the match, and I don't know if Nod's really the best answer here, but, Tick Tanks, you know, Tick Tanks have worked before, and I've been kind of seeing this, you know, come into some of these games, but I don't know, you know, does Tick Tank necessarily do a lot better because there's no Titan?
The Tick Tank, I actually think, is good versus the Titan. I think the choice to play Tick instead of Scorpion is based on the fact there might be a Titan. That's my read anyway. Because if you're playing Fanatics, you want a mobile unit that can take advantage of the boost. Tick Tank is not that unit. But if you expect it to be a Titan, then the extra hit points is huge. Like, being able to sit there, it's basically got like mammoth hit points. So being able to sit there and trade back and forth with a Titan won't win, but you'll do a lot more damage than something like a Scorpion will. However, with Predators on the field, I don't know, it's gonna be tough. If the Tick Tank gets burrowed, it's actually pretty hard for SRPSS to get rid of it.
That's true, and he only has ground units to deal with it, so yeah, you could be right here. Maybe Tick Tank's actually going to be very, very impactful. Well, we're going to find out. So Pitbull coming up to that far left and Pitbull on the right. Tick Tank trying to move on to the pad. Will clear it in one more shot. He's going to clear it and get onto the pad. He's going to burrow, and that actually means Lepaka is going to steal this first missile. Well done.
Yeah, and this is a classic thing that was learned back when Daku first tried to pioneer Tick Tank decks in competitive play. What he learned was that Pitbulls don't do enough damage. You can play them like a Scorpion against a Pitbull. Like, even if you're not burrowed, it's fine. You still beat up on Pitbulls. It's when you come up against other tanks that you need that burrow. So you see Lepaka taking advantage of that. He aggressively moves his Tick Tank in against those Pitbulls. But yeah, here come the Jump Jets. Jump Jets is a clean answer to the Tick Tank. You see these two Jump Jets. Look how much damage they've done. They've almost half killed it. Yeah, Jump Jets have high enough damage to be a serious threat to a burrowed Tick Tank. Oh, and there's the bug.
Oh, look at that. Actually pulled it off. I haven't seen that before, but yeah, finally did happen. But, you know, like you said, the Tick Tank's almost dead. These Jump Jets coming into the middle pad, and the Stealth Tank doesn't have a home. He's trying to get it on there, but he will get onto that far right pad. He's going to move on there, and it looks like Lepaka's got this. Oh, he does.
Oh,
really
wow.
Nice.
I really thought that SRPSS was going to be able to contest that top right pad in time, but Lepaka with a nice block.
Yeah.
Does take that game, and honestly, that game, it's weird to say it, but Tick Tank MVP.
Let's do this.
Establishing battlefield control.
All right, here we go. We got Lepaka versus SRPSS, and nice change from Lepaka going into GDI Liang. Makes a lot of sense, though. We're on a map here with 3 pads, and having Liang is going to be pretty impactful. So, looking at the decks here, we have, I mean, APC, this is tough to say. I mean, the Orca doesn't one-shot the Predator tank. The APC does tank quite well against just about everything that SRPSS has. I mean, Predator tank's good against APC, but the APC should be able to hold for long enough. So, I don't know. I think SRPSS does have a slightly better deck. I don't think having no missiles is going to hurt him that much here, but...
No, the no missiles thing isn't going to be particularly relevant because he has the Hammerhead. It depends how long the game goes. If he gets to a point where he can start making the Hammerheads to kill the Orcas, he's weak to Orca until he can get the Hammerheads out, but... Pardon me. Lepaka's also gone for War Factory first rather than Air Tower. Which means that by the time he gets to Orca... Oh, here comes the flip! Oh, but the
wait a
Liang
minute.
drone, but the Pitbull's ready for it. Oh, and Lepaka takes it. Very nice play from Lepaka there. Very nice play. SRPSS tried to do a little bit of dancing with those dogs. Ended up hurting him a little bit too much. But yeah, what I was going to say, sorry, is SRPSS will be able to get his Hammerhead out for this Orca. Because Lepaka went for Orca as his third building. I do agree with you that the matchup is it's kind of close, because the Orcas can punish the Predators, but the Predators can punish the APCs. So it's going to come down to how much this Hammerhead kills off Orcas. I think that's going to be the critical juncture of the game. If Lepaka can keep Orcas around to kill Predators, he's in really good shape. If he loses them to Hammerheads repeatedly, he's in bad shape.
Yeah, the one thing that's really going here for SRPSS with the Hammerhead is the Hammerhead has a lot of health. It's actually got, I think it's 1750, which is almost, I think it's the same as an Orca Bomber, or maybe a bit less, but Lepaka does not have a very quick option to deal with those Hammerheads. It's got Pitbull, and Pitbull takes quite a few shots. Well, let's see what happens here. So we got this missile coming down. Can Lepaka fight his way back? Ling Drone healing up that Pitbull is going to hold against that Razorback, but of course, SRPS builds a Pitbull, sends it to that far right pad. Now he's going to dance on that left pad, blocking those missiles, but Ling Drone comes in to save the day.
Dogs.
And oh, it's so freaking close. This Pitbull's about to die to these missiles. Dogs get on that top pad. APC is going to hold for days, and now that Lepaka's on all three pads, can he hold this? And the Drone does go down, and there it is. Wow. Well done by Lepaka.
Lepaka, man, he snuck that APC on that bottom right pad.
But having said that, let's move into our next exciting match. We got Beast versus Charlie Green. This is gonna be great. Oh man, Beast has been ramping his way up through the bracket, and let's see if he can make his way through this one.
All right, guys. So yeah, here we go. This is, I believe, almost certain this is a best of 5 now. I think every game from here on is best of 5 until the finals. So we do have Beast versus Charlie. Obviously, excuse me. No real favorite here. I think Greeno's deck is favored though. I think the chems are so beefy. Beast is gonna have a really hard time killing them. He only has Venom that can deal with the chems, and then Greeno has those stealth tanks to deal with the Venoms. So I'm interested to see how this goes though. Both players have laser drones as well, which is good versus Nod. So yeah, very interesting to see how this one goes.
I think I agree with you. The Seth Drill Pod can help, but I don't think it's going to be quite enough. Like you said, the Venom is going to be a difficult answer to the Chem Warriors, because the Chem Warriors have so much health. They've got 600 health per squad member, and that's a lot. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, we're coming down to this first missile here. Venom going up to that far right will hold against, but the bikes get onto that pad. We got Seth Drill Pod coming down as well, but I don't think it's going to be quite enough. Those bikes need to get another volley off, and although the missile has stalled a little bit, laser drones move on to that pad. These lasers getting just demolished by those flames, and well, those Chem Warriors are just a little bit too late, giving Beast the first missile.
Yeah, and I actually did forget to mention, bring up a very good point there. The commander, actually, Beast's commander is substantially better. I know that like Jade is fun to see, but Jade is not a very good commander. Jade is good for countering things like big tech units in a matchup like this where all of Beast units are super cheap, and Greeno is unlikely to be able to go for a base kill. Jade is just not a good commander, and Seth is dramatically better. So I actually think Greeno should have brought like Oksana. And like the chems are good. I like the chems, but people fall into this trap of thinking they should play Jade whenever they're playing chems. And actually, the Jade is just so much worse than the Seth. And here comes Seth again, taking another. He wins the first missile with Seth. Here comes Seth again for the second missile. It's absolutely huge. The Seth is completely dominant, takes care of these chems. Greeno simply can't control any of the pads, and yeah, I think the chems were fantastic, but the Seth was just overwhelming. The Seth was so strong; it won both missiles. All right, interesting. So Beast has gone to the Titan deck. Very common in the upper tiers of tournaments to see this. Greeno's gone for a Giga. Now, what's interesting here is I think Giga is fantastic on Castaway. The map is 3 pads all stuck together. Giga is amazing on this map. Beast does not have a good counter to Giga outside of the Titan. Now, what's interesting about this matchup is if you micro units in front of your Giga correctly back and forth, you can make the Titan shot go wide and not hit the tile behind the unit it's shooting, and therefore miss the Giga Cannon. And because it's a Giga Cannon, it kills stuff really quickly. You can take down a Titan very fast. If you manage to juke 1 shot, or even better 2, from the Titan, the Giga will annihilate it. Which is, yeah, so Giga it comes down to the micro when the Titan versus the Giga, but Giga can beat Titans if you micro the units in front right.
Now, not unsurprisingly here, we've got this first missile going to Charlie. Of course, Beast using a more expensive deck. He's going double Harv here on Castaway, which meant that he had less pop caps. So, you know, not unsurprising here for Beast to drop this missile. Having said that, he didn't really get any stall out of that. We finished that missile at about a minute 2, so that's really good here for Charlie.
Yeah, exactly what you said there. Like the first missile, there wasn't a lot to say. Beast went double half, so he got dominated. That's how first missile goes when you go double half. Now there's a Giga out. Beast has to get this Titan to fight, right? Like, this Giga will kill everything until the Titan comes out. Now, obviously, he still has the Razorback that can clean up some support units, but look at this money, man. This is classic old school Rivals, how you beat tech. Just win before it comes out. And this is exactly what we're saying. This is classic old school Rivals. I've been saying this a bit. I think one of the best counters to this Titan deck is just to play Nod aggressive decks. And there you see it, exactly that. Greeno just dominates the first 2 missiles. He ends the game at 150, which is almost just the quickest you can possibly end a game at. He could have done it maybe like 5 seconds sooner. And there's just no way for Beast to get that Titan out in time. He just couldn't do it.
All right, here we go. Game number 2. We got Beast versus Charlie. Well, this should be another great match, of course. We got a Nod mirror on our hands, but it's going to be Seth versus Oksana this time, so...
Yeah, so, of course, here we have... Oh, Greeno's gone into Tick Tanks and Chuggy. I think this is probably an attempt to fight Titan, but obviously Beast after that beating has decided to not bring the Titan. He's instead got back to his Nod aggro, which he won with against Greeno, if I remember correctly. He won the first game using this. So yeah, very interested to see how this goes. Yeah, and we'll see what happens.
So yeah, right here at the beginning, of course, we got a bit of a stalemate going on. Both players going into militants, and you know, neither player really getting the advantage. Except we got double concave here on the top pad. So Beast so far looks like he's winning the rifle war. He's going to move his rifles over here and start getting, but he's actually going to lose defender's advantage. So those rifles from Charlie are going to win that. But now Bikes first tech switch here from Beast coming out to that middle pad, blocking the riflemen or the militants off. But you know, again, we're at middle half charge here, so it's not really quite enough. And, you know, Charlie could just jabate him out here. We'll see if that happens.
Here comes that boosted Tick Tank. So the boosted Tick Tank's coming onto the pad. Doesn't get onto the pad. The rifles do block it. Here's a drill pod as well for additional blocking. And I think Beast... Oh, no! He misses the block! And almost a flip, but he gets the flamers on the bottom. Just about brings it back there. All right, so good job, Beast there. Takes that first missile. Very nice play with that drill pod. So yeah, we're going to move into the second missile here. Beast moving into those laser drones. He's attempting to make things happen with the laser drones. Greeno, pretty weak to laser drones right now. Doesn't have the doesn't have access to the sorry guys, doesn't have access to that Phantom yet. Gonna need to save some money until he can get there. But here comes the he's got the 150 now. He can make that Phantom. I'd be very surprised to see Greeno not make it. I think he's just waiting for pop cap. Yeah, still a couple of laser drones floating around. A little bit of pop capping going on. He does go for a Chuggy instead. Really surprised here. Not sure why Greeno isn't bringing that. Not sure why Greeno isn't bringing that Phantom out.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, you know, another thing that Charlie could do is pull that Harvester onto the pad. It's very close to charging here, so he may do that still. We got that Stealth Tank there holding steady, and now we got Phantom coming out. Oh, boy, it's real close. That Stealth Drill Pod, though, that's going to be able to hold against those lasers very easily. This Chem Buggy needs to get onto another pad. Phantom boosts, gets onto the far left, will clear. There's Venom in time, flip the missile over, and it's going to... No. Oh, wow. So close. Very close.
And once again, guys, we see this Nod mirror just dominated by Seth. And of course, this is match point for Beast. If he wins this one, he does take it down. And this is loser bracket, so this is it. If Beast wins this, Greeno's out of the tournament.
Yep, exactly. Well, just as predicted, Beast has decided to go with Seth once again. It's working well for him. He's not going to change. And then we see Charlie going over to Oksana Nod. Actually, it's very similar. Was he running Tick Tanks in the last
I believe this is the same decks, yeah, because he snuck that Tick Tank on the first missile and almost flipped it.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe these are the same. No, wait, didn't he have Fanatics before? I don't remember. I think it must be the same deck because I don't think you can play Fanatic Chuggy. It must have been Fanatic Militant. It must have been Chuggy Militant. I don't remember exactly.
Yeah, possibly.
But
well,
yeah,
and you know, between these two decks here, I mean, Tick Tanks are going to be pretty good because Beast really has to rely on Laser Drone, Stealth Tank, and Bikes to deal with them. So if Charlie can get his Tick Tanks out early and get them onto pads, maybe it'll work. But we're on a 3-pad map here. I don't know. I mean, where do you Tick Tanks if you're Charlie?
That's exactly it. That's exactly the problem. Because there's no central fighting point, there are 3 pads. They're all split up. You can put Tick Tank top, but then your opponent can just go bottom. And then when you move your units bottom, he sends Laser Drones top. You have nothing to support your Tick Tank anymore. What Charlie wants is a single focal point to fight where he can make a tick tank and have Chuggy and Phantom nearby. But that is not going to happen on this map.
So first drill pod coming down here from Beast being very impactful, but actually slightly less because this Chem Buggy doing some real work. Now 2 Chem Buggies holding these pads. Laser drones, are they going to make it in time? Not quite, no. So of course, unfortunate there for Beast, he didn't get onto one of the pads in time to stall it, and that gives Charlie that first missile.
Yeah, I think Beast's error there was he actually drill podded a little bit too soon. Drill podded, it took the pad, but it gave Reno enough time to get that Chuggy in there and clean up those flamers. He needed to wait until the missile was a little bit closer to firing so that Chuggy couldn't kill the flamers in time. And yeah, he ends up flipping it back to Greeno because he got there a little bit. He went a little bit too early. Viewed his load too early.
Yeah. So here we go. We got the stick tank coming up to this top pad. We got a little bit of pop capping going on with these laser drones. Another Seth Trod coming down onto the top pad. A little bit unusual because I think the flamers are likely going to lose that. So not sure why he's done that, but well, okay, it's not too late anyway.
I'm not sure, but I think the idea behind the play was to clear lasers from the area so that he can send laser drones in. I'm pretty sure that's what he was doing.
Oh yes, that very well could be. Well, this Chem Buggy coming in doing a great job in this match, is cleaning up these flamers with no trouble at all. We got lasers on that back pad with bikes there as well. This Phantom coming out to start dealing with this laser drones, but nice stealth tank from Beast here. It's going to clear this Phantom in one shot.
That's
and
huge.
It does.
Absolutely huge.
So that is a big loss there for Charlie. And you see, money-wise, he doesn't have a ton of money in the bank, so he does need to make sure he's maintaining value out of these units. And this Phantom here is going to clear, or no, doesn't clear the laser drones, finally does. And of course, with all 3 pads secure, Charlie's got it. There it is, taking
Very nice.
here by storm. All right, here we go. Beast switching over to Strong Arm GDI and Charlie going with GDI Liang. You know, I know Beast does play Strong Arm, and it's maybe one of his comfort decks. Here on Rorschach, though, I'm a little disappointed to see that because, you know, Strong Arm's just not as good here, but it's okay. It's decent.
It's okay, yeah.
You know,
I
it's
don't
just
know,
not
man.
great.
I think it's okay. The fact you can put it on the other side of the middle pad, right? Which
that's
hits
right.
it hits both their side of the middle pad and another tile, but most importantly, it blocks incoming units from getting towards the pad. So actually, I don't know. Like, I think Liang is just the best by so much. You should play Liang, but I think Strong Arm is probably the next best on this map. I think it's a reason.
Unit ready.
I think it is a reasonable choice too. We'll see if Beast can extract a lot of value out of it and overcome this Titan matchup. I mean, you know, this deck here of SRPS, he's got to be real careful. And Beast is also playing a deck that favors late game. But if Charlie gets his late game before Beast does, it's not going to be easy for Beast to win this.
Yeah, Beast, like you say, if Beast was playing against an aggressive deck, he'd want to go late. But against Greeno's deck, he wants to end the game as quickly as possible. And I've played this APC deck a lot now, like a lot. I've played probably hundreds, possibly even closing on 1,000 games of this deck. I played it a ton back when it was the meta deck. Sorry, the missile's coming down. There is the Strong Arm turret, a little bit off position there, can't hit those missiles, but it looks like it's not going to matter. Greeno doesn't get the Razorback out in time. Beast does take that missile, so good job, Beast. It's not unexpected to take first missile against double half.
Although we are at a minute 20, so timing-wise, it's actually not great for Beast, because that first Titan should be coming out pretty soon. Although, having said that, Charlie has been spending a lot of money on these expensive units like Razorback and Hammerhead. But, you know, you got to expect the next unit to come out is going to be Titan. Yeah,
and I think Beast has made a huge misplay here, sending that Orca to attack the Harvester. That's an expensive unit. It's good versus the Titan. It's good versus the Pitbull. He just suicided it. That's going to hurt him a lot now that he doesn't have one for this Titan. And the way Beast wins this matchup is by closing the game out quickly and having an APC tank the Titan for long enough to fire the missile. He never even got his APC set up. And we're not even close to the second missile firing. The Titan's going for the Harvester now. I think Beast is in trouble here. I don't see how he comes back from this.
Yeah, as soon as this Harvester takes out that Harvester, there it goes. That means Beast's economy is completely shut down. Look at Charlie's money. He's got 300 Tiberium in the bank. This means that he can continue pushing out these Titans. And yes, Beast does have Orca, and he's got APCs that might be able to hold against a Titan. But, you know, when you get too many Titans on the field, it's like any tech. It's very, very difficult to remove. So
yeah, Beast is just broke. He doesn't have any money. The way he wins this matchup is by either tanking the Titan long enough to fire the missile, which clearly isn't going to happen, or by sending like triple Orca at the Titan, and he doesn't have the money for the triple Orca. Losing that Orca was a huge cost, I think. He needed to have bank to fight this Titan. But here we go, third missile. Is Greeno going to get there in time and clear up these? It looks like he is. This Razorback should clean up everything. The Pitbulls won't get past the Titan, and I think Greeno takes this missile. And with this missile, it becomes very hard for Beast to win this game. Almost impossible, I would say.
Major structural damage received.
Yeah, we're now moving into the third missile of this game, and this is where, like we've talked about many times, where tech becomes absolutely dominant, and it's just because of the fact that Tiberium ramp-up is at full. And, you know, for Beast here, I don't really know what he could do. Do you think maybe he goes double Harv at the beginning of this missile to try and spam Orcas?
I genuinely believe that with the tools available to him, there's nothing he can do.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I think the way he wins this game is by stealing a missile. He needs to get to a situation where Greeno's units are low, which is hard to do against Liang, and then snipe them all at the end. That's the only way he does it. But all Greeno needs to do is park Titans on these pads, and he can't lose. There it is.
I love that micro there from with those Pitbulls from Beast. It was a nice little desperation attempt, but it didn't work out. Fortunate for him, these Titans one-shot the Pitbulls, and that's really what he needed to hold against these Hammerheads. He couldn't rely on anything else. So, yeah, unfortunate loss there for Beast. All right, so Victor Bansimer playing not Oksana against SRPSS with his GDI Liang. Let's see who's going to come out on top. Okay, so we got Tick Tanks again. Man, you know, I really love to see the variety of units today. It's been great. But here we are facing off against a classic Titan deck, now becoming a classic because, geez, SRPS has been playing this darn deck so much. Now, like we talked about earlier, Blade, you said that Tick Tank is quite good against Titan, and do you think it's going to fare well on this map?
Tick Tank buys you time against Titan. I'm not sure that quite good is the word I'd use. Still loses. Although for a 70 cost unit going up against 130 cost unit, it does a pretty good job. It does need to be in position though. It gets one shot while it's moving, so it is critical to have it in position. It's going to be interesting to see. The other problem is that this Titan deck doesn't have anything that you want to make. That you don't really want to make your Tick Tanks until the Titan comes out, so it's hard to have them ready to go.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, you know, Victor's running a it is a 2-building deck, so he's going to have access to that unit right away. But I think, like you said, yeah, knowing the timing and also getting them into position is going to be the tough thing. But speaking of that, here we are, SRPS getting great positioning on this Pitbull, able to hold against these lasers. Of course, the Razorback is now going to move over to the top left, which means he should be able to hold that pad. These lasers are going to try and make their way to the bottom pad, but of course, this Pitbull's in position is going to have an easy time blocking them. And yeah, there it goes. So Stealth Tank just could not make it in time, and there SRPS takes the first missile.
And this, what I was talking about earlier, this is why SRPSS wins with this deck so much. Because he wins first missile. And once you win first missile with a deck that has tech in it, you're so far ahead. Like, it's so hard to lose. Because you have infinite time to make tech. And again, SRPSS, he wins first missile. He wins first missile with the Razorback. Dixer is not able to get that Stealth Tank in time to clear the Razorback. And now SRPSS has infinite time to go Titans.
And that's exactly what he's going to do. We see a second Harvester coming out here. That means that SRPS is most definitely going to be relying on his late game plan, which makes perfect sense. That's exactly what he's aiming for here. Really, Victor has to be very careful because if he loses his Harvesters, that's definitely going to snowball the game. But, you know, I think there is a possibility here for Victor to make a comeback. But, you know, once we get to full ramp up, it's going to be very difficult for him.
Well, I really like that Victor is making the Tick Tanks now. He's identified that the Titan's coming out. He needs them in position. Gone for a Harvester since he doesn't need to have it set up immediately. That's really nice as well. It means he can build more Tick Tanks. Here comes the first Tick versus Titan, but it doesn't burrow in time. Titan one-shots it. Can Victor get the block long enough? Looks like he can. Yeah, easily. SRPSS doesn't even attempt to contest this one. Boosted Tick, is it going to burrow in time? It does. Oh, and SRPSS moves. He wants to go after that other Tick Tank. All right, so as you see, the Tick Tanks, he does hold off that first Titan. SRPSS doesn't even try for that missile. He just Liang's his Titan. He just wants to keep it alive. This is a really good play by SRPSS. You see people often throwing money away, trying to get pads that they can't get. And Victor, the SRPSS doesn't make that mistake. He knows that his Titan is worth more than the missile in that spot because he has another missile to make infinite Titans. But he just wants to keep that Titan alive. He wants to keep this pressure. Look at the map now. This is what SRPSS wants. He just makes infinite Titans. Victor is really struggling to get rid of them. These Tick Tanks, if they can't burrow, they just die instantly. And it's really hard now for Victor to push back into the map.
Yeah, like at this moment in time, we see the economy difference between these two players actually is a little bit even, although having said that, SPS does have 2 Titans out. Losing one there is a big deal. And, you know, Victor is starting to slowly come back here. We got 2 Harvesters again for SRPSS, though, and we're at full ramp-up, so his economy is fully back online. We're going to see more Titans pouring out, and this missile has not been charging whatsoever. Now finally is. But, you know, like you said, these Titans have been doing a really great job against these Tick Tanks, being able to take them out as they're moving. And that has been a big problem here. And this laying drone healing up this Titan is also proving to be a big issue.
Yeah, and Victor
So
he just can't get back on the map. Can't get back on the map. He can't get on either of the pads. And SRPSS takes it with complete map dominance. He also has infinite money right now. SRPSS should have been moving harvesters, but he didn't need to.
It was a very close game, though. That could have gone either way there at the very end. So really well done to Victor. But yeah, SRPSS is using Titans at great dominance.
Yeah. All right, guys, here we go.
Okay.
Game 2, Victor SRPSS. Looks like we might see another of the same matchup, in fact.
Yeah, it could very well be. Let's take a look. Okay, no, very big difference, of course. Now we're going to start to see this matchup that we've been talking about, which is Rockworm versus Titan. We've got two very good players here. So, of course, you know, based on this, Victor's deck is pretty well favored, although he did bring Chem Buggy with no infantry to fight at. So that was a really smart play by SRPSS to drop missiles out of his deck. Actually, no, he doesn't typically run missiles anyway.
No, he plays like, he switches between, like, this weird deck with the dogs opening tends to play jump jets. He's chosen to completely eschew that this time and just go straight for the Predator tank, which I think is a great choice. Predator is very good versus Victor's deck until Victor gets to Rockworm. Even then, Predator does okay against Rockworm. So, yeah, the Predator tank is going to be fantastic. A little bit risky from SRPSS. This deck is one that could be weak to a myriad of things, but Victor did not bring those things. So, it's looking pretty good for SRPSS.
Well, speaking of that, so Victor getting onto all three of these pads. He's got those double lasers up at the top. He's got militants on the back pad as well. Laying drone coming down, though, will start to stall. These dogs are going to clear the militants, and actually, this is going to flip. There it is. SRPSS with that laying drone flip takes this missile off of Victor. That's got to feel bad.
There it is again, guys. This is what happens. SRPSS wins first missile, and then he just relies on the Titans. Now, obviously, this time, he's not guaranteed to win with the Titans because there is a Rockworm in Victor's deck. But SRPSS is looking good now. He's looking very strong. He's won the first missile he's got forever. He's got 2 harvesters. Victor has instead decided to go for a very fast Rockworm. Instead of going double harvester Rockworm, he's just going for a very early Rockworm. But I don't know if this is going to be quick enough. SRPSS is going to get this harvester with the Razorback. This harvester's so low, it's going to go down to this Razorback, and that's going to power out a Titan. And now it comes down to the Rockworm versus Titan, which I believe the Rockworm with boost will win. But SRPSS with double harvester is going to be able to make way more Titans. And that's going to be an issue.
Yeah, that's a big problem here. We see this Rockworm inching
just going for
as
the money.
burrowed. He's going for the harvesters, which, you know, I gotta say, not a bad idea. But of course, Victor's got to be very, very careful, as if, you know, he's got to win this missile. So finally, the Rockworm does move over.
Yeah, he can't.
And, Rockworm should make it.
He can't trade this missile for a half right now. That's not a play he can make.
Exactly. So here we go. We got this Rockworm coming up. He's going to unburrow. It's going to take care of one of these Predator tanks. But look at this. This boosted Rockworm's going to do some real work. This bike gets on. Oh, it doesn't get onto the pad. We'll clear this time. Oh, it doesn't matter. Wow, that was super duper close. But yeah, thankfully that Rockworm held on long enough for Victor to take that missile. But oh boy, he's got one harm. Yep. He's got a couple of buttons in his pocket, but not much more than that. And will it be enough to fight against these Titans?
This is the problem. When it gets to this stage, it comes down to the economy. And SRPSS is so far ahead. Rockworm can beat the Titan 1v1. It can't win 3v1. There's 3 Titans he has to kill now.
Yeah, that's like that's 15,000 worth of health he's got to deal with. And yes, the Rockworms are very good, but the fact that he went with single harvest is really what's costing him here. Actually, no, going single harvest and losing the first missile is really what cost him here. Had he taken that first missile, he'd be in much better shape. But yeah, this is exactly the problem.
Titans, just there's so many of them, they just take out the base. And SRPSS, oof. Pretty dominant performance once again.
Field control.
All right, here we go. Victor versus SRPSS. Victor switching over to GDI. SRPSS likely to play the exact same deck because, gosh darn it, it is just working so well. And you know what? We're here on 2 fuses as well, which is not a bad map for harves or double harves. So okay, yeah, pretty much. But Victor going with an MLRS deck against the Titan. This is going to be a very difficult win for Victor. He can do it, but it's going to be challenging, I think.
It's again the same thing with the Giga. If you duke the Titan shots, then you can kill it with an MLRS. And this is actually a pretty good map for that because you hide behind the missile. It's quite hard for the Titan to get the angle against the blocking units. It's actually really hard for the Titan to get the angle versus the blocking unit. So MLRS could be strong here. SRPSS once again has Predator and no infantry, so that's very interesting to see.
Well, we got this first Predator tank coming out. It's going to start dealing damage to these dogs. Of course, Predator tank does shoot fairly slowly, so it's not really going to do an effective job of dealing with these right away. And now we see the first MLRS coming out. It will not one-shot the Predator tank, so that's going to be a problem because now we see two of them here. And this Predator tank on that far right is going to get onto the pad. Of course, that's going to be another big problem here. This MLRS is going to try and clear it, but, you know, not being on the pads loses you missiles, and that's what exactly is going to happen here.
And there it is again. SRPSS, he's 2 halves, still wins first missile. How are you supposed to beat this guy?
Yeah,
he's what are you supposed to do? He's playing this super expensive deck. He makes 2 harvests. You still can't win first missile against him. That feels really bad, man. That feels really bad. And I think Victor's mistake was he needed jump jets. He needed jump jets because jump jets forces SRPS to tech switch to Razorback, and SRPSS didn't have the money to do that. But by not making the jump jets, SRPSS could just make Predators. And now here's the Titan. What are you gonna do now, man? What are you gonna do now? There's a Titan. Like.
Yeah, the thing is the MLRS has to get 3 volleys off to clear a Titan. So the trouble there is that the MLRS just takes too long to clear it, and you know you have to protect it for quite a long time. And Victor not having access to boost could hurt him here. But well, we're about to fire another second missile, and you know it doesn't look like Victor's been able to contest this. Razorback just cleans up those jump jets. Slingshot can't push, and there it is. SRPS takes the second missile by storm.
Wow, and feels bad for Victor, man, but a clean sweep for SRPSS.
Control.
Well, we're going to find out here because we got Alicia versus Lapaka, as we were talking about. We got Alicia playing GDI Ling, and so does Lapaka. He's not going to use his nod deck, which is interesting.
2, 1. New objective received.
All right, so yeah, Alicia's she is really tryharding here, using the exact same deck that SRPSS was using, and of course, if it works for him, it's going to work for me. So Alicia's going to try it out, and Lapaka running the APC deck here. It's Suzaku's list here, but with of course Liang versus Strongarm. You know, I don't know. Actually, Strongarm might not have been a bad choice against what Lapaka, or not Lapaka, what Alicia's bringing.
Again, it is one of those things where Strongarm is decent. It's probably decent on this map, but it's not Liang. Why would you bring anything but Liang?
Unit ready.
Yeah, true enough. True story. Well, and I mean, between these two decks, you know, obviously Alicia's got the way better late game, so I don't know. This is very similar to a match we saw with, actually, it was pretty much these two decks against each other. And once it got to late game, the Titans really just stole the game. But here we're seeing Alicia just being very dominant once again. These double pitbulls from Lapaka need to get onto the pads here. These dogs are able to hold well. And Lane Drone coming up on that far left is really great. But this Predator tank is going to clear this pitbull in one more shot. It's going to clear this top pitbull as well. And yeah, that means Alicia secures this first missile quite easily.
Yeah, and Alicia, best player in the game. She's not falling into the trap of a Liang Drone on her back pad. She puts a pitbull there. She knows he needs anti-air on that pad. Puts a pitbull there. And the Liang Drone does nothing. And Lapaka's, the thing about Alicia's deck is no infantry, means she's a little bit weak to things like missiles, Grens, mutants, right? But missiles you can take care of with dogs in the early game, as we saw. Like, Alicia dominated with just dogs, basically. Once we get to the late game, you get the Razorbacks out. Now the missiles are kind of useless. If there were Grens or Marauders in Lapaka's deck, I think this is a risky deck to have brought for Alicia, actually, because Lapaka often plays Mutant Chuggy. And if he just goes like, oh, wheels into mutants against her dog spam, he's in so much trouble in that spot. He probably loses first missile to that. But luckily for her, Lapaka's on the APC deck, so it works out okay. So Lapaka's best unit in this matchup is going to be that Orca, but he isn't able to get to it because he's gone barracks into War Factory. And now Alicia has enough money to make that Hammerhead, so now the Orca isn't even going to be that dominant. If Lapaka had identified early on that Alicia was not going to have barracks at all, he could have gone air. And I think Orca would have been really strong. But unfortunately, that hasn't happened. And now we're in this spot where Alicia is just so far ahead. And I don't see Lapaka getting back into it.
That's kind of what we're seeing here. So we got Lapaka throwing that pitbull down to the bottom, but of course a Predator tank is there, and that's going to completely dominate that pad. And now we got this Razorback on the far right. It's got a Liang Drone to heal it up, so these missiles and pitbull are going to be completely useless. And it's just going to be a matter of time here before Alicia clears these pads up and secures the missiles. So now she's cleared that bottom pad of the missiles. The Predator tank's going to go up and start dealing damage to that pitbull, and well, yeah, there it is.
There it is. Alicia takes it to two missiles to none. And yeah, once again, we just see the absolute dominance of Razorback. Absolute dominance of Razorback. Packer's deck was not well set up to fight Razorbacks. Couldn't beat them. Razorback just annihilated all the infantry, and then Predators killed all the vehicles, and that was it. Lapaka was done. He never even made it to the air tower.
Battlefield control.
Well, speaking of, let's find out if that's true. But actually, Alicia switched over to Oxan and Nod, and I gotta expect that she's probably changed over to Rockworm, maybe anticipating a Titan here. But let's have a look.
Yeah, I think you're right. There's the Rockworm, and yeah, this is. I mean, I think Alicia was anticipating Alpaca going the 4 War Factory deck, and Rockworm is just insane versus this deck. So I think Alicia has outdecked Alpaca 2 games in a row here.
Yeah, I would have liked to see the Mutant Marauders come out, especially against a deck like Alicia has. She has no Fanatics. She's only got Wheels and Militants, and of course Rockworm as well. But, you know, early game-wise, Mutant Marauders would have had a huge impact. So, yeah, a little bit disappointed to see the Tic Tanks come out here. Doesn't necessarily mean Alpaca is going to lose outright, but, yeah, I think like you say here, Blade, that Alicia has a fairly better deck, like enough that it's a huge gap for Alpaca to overcome, considering Alicia's skill level.
Yeah, I actually think that the Tic Tanks are going to be decent, because at least they hold out against a Rockworm for a while, same way as they can against a Titan. But yeah, you don't really, this isn't where you want to be against Rockworm. You don't want to be full War Factory. And it kind of looks like Alicia is trying to do the same thing SRPSS does, which is just play first missile normally, and then if you win it, you just dominate with tech, and if you lose it, then you can still maybe get tech out for second missile. We'll have to see how it goes.
So, of course, unfortunately here for Alpaca, he's got his Fanatics split up from his Wheels, so the Wheels could not get boosted to take care of those Militants in a very quick fashion, and now Alpaca trying to fight for the paths, doesn't get there in time. That single HP Militant moves over, but doesn't matter, he's able to get the block, and Alicia takes this missile, so...
There it is. Boy. Now Alicia is just gonna go to Harvester. Or at least just get Rockworms, and actually Alpaca lost that missile because his Fanatics were attacking the Wheels instead of the lasers the whole time. And then those lasers that Alpaca didn't kill, that's that one laser squad at the top of the map that fired that missile. So that's why he lost that missile, because his Fanatics were attacking the wrong thing.
Oh dear. Well, and we see this nice aggression on the Tic Tank here. But of course, it pushed the Harvester out of position. That's all you got to do, of course, for Alicia. But the nice thing here that it's causing Alicia to do is not be able to build that second Harvester. But having said that, because of the value she's created from her matchup, she's been able to build this Rockworm and still have a little bit of money left in the tank. So now this Rockworm going over the Harvester and gets the bikes first. Very good play from her. She's going to start to take care of this Harvester. One more swipe and it's gone. And that means Alicia's economy is going to start to really ramp up here. And I don't know, this ain't looking good here for Alpaca. I'm not sure what he can do.
I liked getting the Tic Tanks, but I think he really should have set them up on pads to fight the Rockworm. Going after the Harvester, I think, is a misplay. If you watch this Rockworm versus Tic Tank matchup, it actually doesn't go that badly for the Tic Tank. It doesn't go well, but it's not completely horrendous. If you had 2 Tic Tanks to fight the Rockworm, it would go much better. But now there's 3 Rockworms, and Alpaca didn't get that Harvester kill, and I don't see how he comes back now.
No, that's exactly it. I mean, that Rockworm does go down, and maybe if he can secure these 2 pads, but of course that's not going to be the case. These lasers get on in the middle. Rockworm's being extremely dominant, just completely clear the pads, and well, that gives Alicia the victory.
Yep, and Rockworm, absolutely dominant unit. It's just overpowered. It is just an overpowered unit. The only thing that ever holds Rockworm back is awkward movement of Rockworm.
All right, well, we got our players ready to go. Let's get this underway. And here we are with another match between Alicia and Alpaca. Of course, this is, I believe this is match point here. We're in a best of 5. So, you know, this is going to be a tough game for Alpaca to win. But let's see if he's brought a better deck.
Ooh, interesting.
Okay.
So Alicia's gone back to her, I believe she calls it Infernum.
Infernum, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't really understand what the gimmick is there. But yeah, this is her classic Nod deck. This is the deck this is the most successful tournament deck of all time. The Titan deck is closing in, but this, given the weight of games Alicia has won with this deck in tournaments, this is still the most successful tournament deck of all time, even though it's only Alicia who's won games with it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, well, you've talked about this a lot, but this is a classic value deck for Alicia where basically she just wins trades a lot because of her great micro, and then as a result she banks a lot of money, and it allows her to pull out the Inferno, spam them, and then basically she wins a missile, and then she goes after the base right away.
Kind of like how Zenro plays, but with Infernos instead of clunky tech units.
Yeah, pretty much.
And this right here, you see that Scorpion annihilate that Chuggy? That's exactly what I was talking about when I said that Fnatic Scorpions shut down the Chuggy deck.
Oh, it's so close, but nice flip here from Alicia. That Scorpion tank just sneaking onto that pad allowed Alicia to take this first missile here. You know, I don't think she's dropped a first missile yet.
Yeah, I mean, that boosted Scorpion killed the Chuggy through lasers, then just killed the lasers as well, because it was boosted. So that just goes to show the power of Scorpion Fnatic, and that is why this deck was completely dominant until Razorback came out. But this Fnatic aggro deck, or decks with Scorpion and Fnatic, was the best deck in the game until the Razorback came out. Of course, that deck has weaknesses. The Fnatic Scorpion has weaknesses, but the Razorback deck pushes most of those decks out of the metagame because it annihilates all the nonsense decks that exist that used to beat Fnatic, which is why we see such a dominant Fnatic/Razorback metagame.
Well, this first Banshee coming out here, and, you know, Banshee's an interesting choice. I actually kind of like it with Stealth Tank, but, you know, the problem here is getting chewed up by these bikes. It got entered into that concave, so a little bit of lost value there for Lepaka, and he really needs to make sure he's got these alive so he can deal with these Infernos. This Inferno here has been living for so long. It hasn't even really taken many shots here, and it's about to get another shot off on this Harvester. There it goes. One more, and that's going to kill that Harvester. And, you know, you look at Alicia's economy right now. She's got 140 Tiberium, which means she's got enough money to build a Phantom or an Inferno as she needs, and she'll never need to build a Phantom, which is great for her, because she can just continue to spend money on these Infernos. And, you know, now is moving into the second missile here. The Scorpion tank on that top left really boosted, taking care of those bikes. This Inferno about to go down, but Lepaka can't fight these pads and can't flip it. These bikes on the far left with the Scorpion on the right. That single Fnatic taking care of those militants wins this game for Alicia. All right. Oh, yes. You love to see this. Charlie Green throwing out the cane. That is great. And then SRPSS, of course, being the tryhard that he is, he's throwing out GDI Liang. We are here on Hold the Line, though. And, you know, Kane's tower is not bad here because I think you can have it cover the top two pads pretty reliably. So, you know, not a bad choice in general. But against this Titan deck, I quite like this. So the Obelisk Tower should be pretty good here. We'll see, though.
Yeah, this deck from Greeno is clearly designed to fight what SRPSS is doing. He's got Chem Buggy to kill missiles underneath Razorback. He's got Tick Tanks to fight Titans and Pitbulls. He's got Mutants as an additional way to fight Titan. Because he knows he doesn't need lasers, right? He doesn't want lasers. Because SRPSS is only really going to have Razorback that's in the sky. If he needed to fight like laser drones, he needs lasers. But he knows SRPSS doesn't have that. Because SRPSS is playing GDI. So he brings the Mutants instead. He's even got the Phantom, because what often happens is that if you lose control of the skies, the Razorback dominates. So you don't want to have a ground unit that fights the air, because then the Titan shuts it down. So this entire deck... Oh, and Kane. He's got the Obelisk to kill the Titan. This whole deck looks entirely built to fight SRPSS.
This is, you know, this is a real characterization of GDI versus Nod right here. And, you know, it's got to be Kane of all commanders. So we'll see if that happens. All right, so this Razorback clears the Militants on the top, laying drone on the bottom with missiles on the middle pad. And here we're seeing SRPS doing what he does best and taking that first missile like he always does.
And this is exactly the problem. Greeno has even brought this deck. He's built the entire deck to beat SRPSS. And he still loses first missile against Double Harvester.
Yeah,
How are you ever supposed to win a match against SRPSS if you build a deck specifically to counter him and you still can't win a missile? What are you supposed to do next?
I don't know if this is a deck that necessarily wants to win the first missile. I mean, he's got enough late game tools that he should be able to clear out these Titans, but
I don't agree with that. You can obelisk down. You can obelisk down 1 or 2 Titans. Once there's 10 of them, you are dead.
That is true. Yeah, you make a good point. If he does spam these Titans, and you know, Charlie here is not really putting a lot of pressure on SRPSS Harvesters, so he's just collecting tons of money. We're at the 2-minute mark, so economy's not completely ramped up, but it's getting pretty close. And here we see these bikes move up to the top. They're going to go down to this Titan, of course. It's going to clear, I think, one of them, but no, he's shooting at the Titan instead. Maybe this Tick Tank will be able to hold long enough, but doesn't really matter too much, actually, because like Blade was talking about, the problem here is that Titans are going to start to come out in huge numbers, and that's exactly what we're seeing now. And ouch, a Titan one-shotting that Tick Tank's a big deal, furthering SRPS's dominance.
And this is exactly it. If you win that first missile, Charlie, the game is now over. You dominated second missile. You completely shut it down with the Obelisk, the Tick Tanks, the bikes, utterly crushed it. But now you haven't won the game, and there's 4 Titans and you're dead. And that's the problem. You have to take that first missile. If you lose the first missile to him, you are dead. Everyone thinks this deck is dominant because of Titans, but it's dominant because SRPSS always wins first missile with it.
Now, can you imagine if Nod had access to a cheap anti-air air unit? Yeah. You know, that would have made this matchup a whole lot different because
it's hard to say.
It was the Razorback that was a big problem, right?
Yeah, if there was a way for Nod to shut down that Razorback, but he just couldn't do it. And maybe the problem was Phantom. Maybe he should have just had the Stealth Tank to kill that Razorback first missile. Maybe that was the issue. Maybe. Yeah, it's entirely possible that was the issue. Maybe it should have been Stealth Tank because he couldn't afford that Phantom in time for first missile.
Push the Kenny button.
I have hit the Kenny button. Right. We're ready to go.
Here we go. Kenny button has been pushed. We're going to start our next game between SRPSS and Charlie Green. We'll see if Charlie can solve this puzzle. He's decided to go back with Nod, but he's switched over to Seth. So maybe Seth could work, but it's hard to say. I mean, this is actually, is it? No, he was running Oksana before, wasn't he?
Yes, Charlie has constantly been running Oksana. I think Seth is a great choice here. Seth not that good against Razorbacks in general, but is very good on this map.
Right.
And the thing here is he doesn't have a unit that kills missiles without Razorback killing them. He needs to use Fanatics to kill missiles. That's not great for him. It's also not the worst because he has the stealth tanks. So now we're looking at the stealth tank looking at stealth tank Fanatic versus Razorback missile. I believe this matchup very slightly favors the Fanatic player, but it also often comes down to micro. And SRPSS is an amazing micro player, so we'll have to see how it goes.
That is true. Well, SRP is trying to pop cap Charlie a little bit here.
Not trying, succeeded.
And now has succeeded. That's right. We are coming down to this missile, and exactly like this first game, we're seeing this Razorback come out. And of course, Charlie does have a stealth tank in his deck now, so he is able to deal with it before the missile fires. And here it goes. Stealth tank taking care of that Razorback is big. These Fanatics concentrated will be able to deal with these missiles. Now the stealth tank going to get on that top pad and should be able to block these missiles. So actually, oh wait a minute, no, of course not. How could I ever think that the logical thing was going to happen here and Charlie was going to win a missile? But you know, of course, that Liang drone coming down, doing what it does best, holding that pad. But nice micro here from Charlie to contest this top pad. Really forcing SRPSS to do something different and build that second harvester. And he's actually pretty much thrown away this missile. So now he's going to clear that Liang drone on the bottom right, and this is going to open up Charlie to finally take the missile. But at a minute 30, I'm not so sure it's going to do too much.
SRPSS doesn't even want to win. I mean, he wants to win the missile, but at that point he didn't care. He was like, whatever, I'm just going to put this Liang drone down because it buys me like 40 seconds. And that's such an amount of time. It's such a huge amount of time. I don't know if Charlie can close this game out before Titans arrive. What is very interesting, Charlie, I think, made a small misplay. When he was trying to fight the missiles top, he sent both his Fanatics up there, but his wheels had vision of the two-man missile squad on the left. Could have sent a Fanatic down there and killed it very quickly. I think that might have been better, because that would have done the job a lot quicker. Now here's the thing. Here comes the first Titan. Missile's about halfway. Charlie's already got the tick tank set up. Charlie is in very good position to take this here. Just needs to get this tick tank set up on a pad. Make sure the Titan doesn't dominate the game. I mean, look at the missile right now. The Liang drone is probably going to stall top, and that's going to hurt. But the Flamers bottom are ready to go. I think he might just take it. He might just take it before the Titans are relevant. And he does. Oh, that's how you do it. Yes. That is how you beat that deck. Exactly that. Good job. Good job, Charlie. Thank you for showing everyone how you actually beat that deck.
Yeah, we got Charlie versus SRPSS, and you know, no surprise here to see Seth versus Liang. I think here, of course, Seth makes a ton of sense, just like on the last map. We have 3 pads spread apart, so of course Seth's drill pod can be very good here.
And Liang is also amazing on this map for the same reason. And yeah, you are correct. Exactly what you predicted. Well, no, he has Predator as well, right? It's actually quite a big difference. He has Predators now. He has Talons. He has the Dogs. So yeah, quite a big change in deck. But it is one we've seen him play before. Like, it is similar to something we've seen him play today. And he is still sticking to that Razorback plan. Razorback Dog as his anti-plan. Greeno, that's the same deck, right? Yes, the same deck as before.
So I really feel like the map here is favoring Charlie a little bit because, first of all, I think this deck of SRPSS is easier to deal with than the Titan deck. So I think Charlie has a bit more of a fighting chance because of that. And his deck is not terrible on this map either. I mean, he doesn't have any flying units, but he does have a lot of high mobility units. And perhaps if he can get these tick tanks into position early, then like he is now, perhaps the tick tank will actually be an impactful difference. But I don't know. What do you think about this?
I think double flying unit plus jump jet is way too good on this map, and Charlie has nothing that flies. I think the tick tank is his best unit by a lot. Although having said that, you can see how if Predators get shots on tick tanks as they're moving, it does a lot of damage. SRPSS can also switch into jump jets and send them in. And Charlie's gonna have a pretty hard time fighting jump jets. So I don't know, man. I think this could be close.
So for the first time ever, we see Liang drone used to heal Predator tanks instead of taking a pad as a missile's going off. Ooh. So that's actually quite exciting. But of course, it's working out very well for him. It was a very smart play because his Predator tanks survived long enough against the tick tank. They were able to get onto the pads, and now that means SRPSS once again taking the first missile.
Yeah, like I said, the Predator is just so dominant in this matchup because it's his 4 War Factory deck, and tick tank is the only thing Greeno has that effectively contests it. That first tick tank went down. Neither Predator died. It's really bad for Greeno now. Like, losing that first missile sucks. I think his deck gets... I mean, the later the game gets, the worse it gets for him as well, because the more Predators that are going to stack up. Here you see triple Predator with Liang drone, annihilating Tick Tank. Even borrowed Tick Tanks go down pretty easily to Pred stacks. This is one of the main reasons that Predators was such a bad unit for so long, because loads of GDI decks were Predator decks, and Predators just make them look pretty bad, even when borrowed. So, I think SRPSS is just so far ahead on deck right now. I mean, like, he's gonna clean up these lasers easily with the Razorback. He just plays Razorback Predator for the rest of the game, I think. And Greeno has nothing in his deck that's good versus those units, so I don't know what he's supposed to do.
Well, and that seems to be the case because the Stealth Tank here hasn't even lost its load, but finally does, and doesn't even get the Razorback completely. And now with all 3 hexes taken on that far left pad, he can't get on there. Central probably going to be a little too late. And yeah, there it is. SRPS wins the game. All right, SRPSS against Charlie Green, and you know, more of the same here. We got GDI Liang versus Seth Nod. Not too surprising here. I wonder if Charlie's going to change up his deck at all. Maybe he's going to swap out those Tick Tanks. And no, in fact, he's gone even further into the Nod War Factory hole, which, you know, he's taken out those lasers, he swapped in the Marauders, and now he's got Ken Buggy as well.
This is pretty interesting. It's exactly like you say. He's gone even further down the rabbit hole here. Instead of pulling out, he's gone deeper, and SRPSS went back to Titan. So this might end up being the right play for Charlie.
It could be, yeah. And on a map like this with Seth Tropod in his pocket, you know, these Tick Tanks, this first one coming out here, I mean, you know, again, he's doing the right thing. He's getting him into position early, and that's been very effective for him so far. But yeah, you know, SRPSS having these Predator tanks, maybe the Marauders will be enough. But, you know, again, will the Stealth Tanks overcome the Razorbacks for allow the Mutant Marauders to deal damage to the Predator tanks? That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah, he's basically just gone, okay, I lost the Preds. What can I do about that? I'm just going to play Mutant to hard counter these Predators. So yeah, like you say, even further down that rabbit hole. Unfortunately, the Mutant tech switch is so slow thanks to the Tick Tank build that the Predator is able to make it all the way to the Harvester and kill it. And this is a big deal because SRPSS is playing this expensive deck. Getting the extra 80 is a big deal.
Well, first missile coming down. We're just about fully charged here. We got bikes on that far right, but there's a Predator tank. Liang drone coming down to that middle pad. Of course, you expected that. Pitbull on the far left means that this missile is going to start charging at SRPSS. This Razorback is going to hold it for another bike volley, so it should last for this missile. And yep, there it is. SRPSS takes the first missile.
There it is again. Every single time he brings this Titan deck, deals first missile with Liang or just with Razorback, and then he has infinite time to Titan. And you'd think that Greeno with Tick Tanks and Mutants would have a chance against them, but that's just not the case. Once you get rolling, once there's 4 or 5 Titans with a Razorback, it doesn't matter what's in your deck. Unless you have, like, equally powerful tech units, you simply cannot win anymore. I mean, like, obviously, it's interesting to see how Greeno does hit from here on out, but it's so hard for him. It's such a hard matchup.
Like, the thing about Razorback is even if you have Zone Troopers in your deck, you know, like if Charlie had brought GDI, you know, that wouldn't even be enough.
Nope.
But, well, here we are coming down to this missile here, and Charlie really desperately trying to fight for this missile. This Razorback just doing too much damage. The second set of Mutant Marauders do get onto that pad, but of course all 3 hexes taken up means the Mutant Marauders are moving around without firing and do get into position here, but of course that just means the Razorback and his Raider ability are going to chew right through it. There it goes. And the Leader Drone healing up this Razorback is actually very bad because it's going to survive another bike volley, and there it is. Surviving with the sliver of health is huge, as it's going to be able to get back onto that pad if he needs to, and now he's going to contest this bottom pad. Predator Tank moving slowly forward. The Tick Tank, of course, being in place for this entire game, has been holding for a long time, but doesn't matter. SRPS gets there on there with that 1 HP Razorback and takes the game.
Yeah, I see Lepaka. Yeah, it looks like we're actually just we're just ready to start right away. Okay, my bad, guys. I wasn't paying attention. I think there'd be some downtime. Not, so let's just get started.
Let's do it.
Establishing battlefield control.
All right, here we are in our losers bracket, I guess semi-final or final, however you want to call it. But either way, the winner from this will move on to the actual final, and it's going to be Lepaka here versus SRPSS. This should be a great series. And, well, okay, so SRPSS has decided to bring pretty much the same thing. Actually, it is more or less the same thing. And then Lepaka going into, it looks like, I'm actually not sure what to make of this deck. It's almost like standard Nod aggro, but of course no Scorpion tank and no wheels. So I don't know. I'm actually not sure why Lepaka's brought this. What do you think?
I think again it's the you're looking at Chuggy to beat the missiles, Stealth Tank to kill the Razorback, and then he's gone for Banshee. I don't know about the Banshee, but having said that, Banshee actually not bad against what SRPSS is bringing. It beats Pitbulls 1v1. It doesn't beat them cost effectively. If you start spamming Pitbulls, they come out ahead. But it does beat them 1v1, which can be very critical in a low pop cap situation. And it can beat Hammerheads 2v1 as well. If you can get a nice 2v1 with your Banshees, you can take down Hammerheads. So, whilst I'm not sure about the Banshee, I think it's probably not great. It's not terrible versus specifically what SRPSS has. Also, it's a unit that can stand on a pad with a Titan, right? And here it comes. The same thing we see every single time. SRPSS double halves, Liang drone to take the missile, and the game is over. And it's Lepaka did not hold the bottom pad with an anti-air unit. Which means that you have to have anti-air units on your back pad or you lose to Liang. Yeah, we see it every time.
I had it there, but
we see it every single time. He also didn't get his lasers onto the top pad and SRPSS blocked with the Predator, but what do you do now if you're Lepaka? How do you come back now? You have half the money of your opponent, and your opponent has bigger, better units than you.
See, normally I would say bike spam.
Yeah.
But the problem there is that SRPS has great micro, so he's going to build dogs to absorb bike shots. And that means he's going to, like, that's how he plays, right? Like, he uses his dogs to take shots, and it works very well. And these Predator tanks have so much health that even if you do spam bikes and lasers, I mean, it's just not going to be enough. That is the big problem here. And, you know, I do like Banshee as well, but now that the Hammerhead's online, this first missile is gone, it's it's not looking too good. So here we are, second missile, and SRPS is on pretty much all the pads here. He's got two bikes while trying to fight here. We've got one on the middle. Titan coming out as well. Now he's got all three, but of course this Razorback, he moves off the pad there very briefly, but he's going to take this missile here, that's for sure.
There it is again, guys. Once again, you take the second missile because the Titan doesn't get there in time. But then you have to win a third. If you win the first missile, you just win the game here, which we saw Greeno pull off against, was it Greeno? I think it was. We saw Greeno pull it off against SRPSS. He won the first missile, he won the second missile, game was over. But we consistently see SRPSS winning that first missile, and now there's two Titans, and now there's nothing you can do.
And you know, the funny thing too here is that, see, normally you'd look at what Lepaka's doing, he's pressuring the harvesters with these bikes, and you'd say, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. He's got too much money, but you know what? Economy is not really the way to beat this.
You win by already having won. At this point, well, having said that, I don't know what SRPSS is doing. He's not on any of the pads. Lepaka could maybe go for a steal here if he makes enough Banshees. Oh, there's the Hammerhead, and that's going to shut it down.
Yeah. So, of course, SRPS with all three of these pads, a single bike couldn't hold against that Titan. This Banshee goes down as well to the Hammerhead, and that shuts things down. SRPSS takes his first victory.
Control.
All right, well, here we are, SRPSS against Lepaka, and yep, Lepaka is going to change or stick with Nod here, and of course, SRPS is going to go with GDI Liang. I mean, don't fix what ain't broke, right? So,
yep, absolutely.
2, 1. New objective received.
Now let's see what kind of variation we got here. So actually, it's the exact same deck here for SRPSS, and then Lepaka's brought his Mutant Marauder Chuggy deck. So this is actually the deck I would have liked to have seen sooner from him in this matchup. So great, I'm really glad that he's decided to pick it for this matchup.
Yeah, so now, obviously the pack, he's bringing the Chuggy deck. I think it's okay against what SRPSS is doing. I strongly believe the mutants are very, very good. If he goes early mutant, he is in fact going to go early mutant. It looks like it's going to be really. SRPSS needs 110 to get that first Razorback, so he's going to have a pretty long time when he can't contest this mutant. And then if that Razorback dies to a stealth tank, which is what Lepak is almost certainly going to make next, it's real bad for SRPSS. That's what we're going to see. That's how we're going to see this game play out.
Well, and so we see this Mutant Marauder coming out a little bit early with double bikes, and of course the Predator tank is just trying to move away from the Mutant Marauder, but still taking incidental damage from those Mutant Marauder shots. First Razorback coming out, of course, the missile hasn't charged very well. We're at halfway, and there's still a minute into this game, so lots of time here for SRPS to get his game plan online. But hopefully Lepaka can start to push and contest this missile. But either way, these double bikes doing pretty good work. Looks like the bike's going to move into the bottom left, take care of that Razorback in one shot. Drone's not out yet, so couldn't heal it to maintain its value, but here we are, Mutant Marauder's getting boosted. Now might start to finally shoot through these Predator tanks, and we have the first missile coming down. Who's going to take it?
Looking pretty close. I think Lepak has got it on lock, though. He's on all three pads. And there it is, very easily. I was going to say I didn't like Lepaka's play of continuing to push the Predator, but actually, I was wrong. It worked out really well for him. He took out that Predator, losing the mutants, but then the bikes had free reign to kill off that Razorback. And more importantly, he didn't leave SRPSS with damaged units for Liang to heal. He just killed them off. He made those trades because he knows that SRPSS gets insane value if his units live on low hit points. Lepaka gets nothing for preserving his units. But he wants to make these aggressive trades and make sure that SRPSS's units die. So yeah, really, really good play from Lepaka there. I thought he was playing badly, but I was definitely wrong. He crushed it. So really good job, Lepaka.
So again, really nice aggression here on the left side of the map. SRPSS hasn't even been able to build a second Harvester. And, you know, he's still a ways away from getting to that Titan. He's spending a lot of money on these other units, which, you know what, Lepaka's been able to deal with quite reliably. So we got those lasers on the far left, bikes in the middle. They're going to block this Predator tank. Stealth tank coming up the far right, comes in hot, taking this game for Lepaka. Really great comeback from
Absolutely.
him. Very nice job.
Absolutely dominant. Absolutely dominant performance from Lepaka there. That was the kind of level of dominance that the game before was. But reversed, right? SRPSS completely dominated Lepaka first game. Lepaka completely dominated SRPSS in that game.
Lepaka proving that he can push SRPSS, and we're going to see that potentially happen again, as Lepaka coming in again with Nod, and then SRPSS not really changing too much, but in fact, no, not changing at all. He's gone with the same deck, and here on Slash Fields, you know, it does have the same open nature of Eruption to some extent, not on the left and the right pads, but in the open area there in the middle, it is difficult to protect those Razorbacks, so a little surprised to see that take place. You know, hoping to see another dominant performance from Lepaka here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised to see SRPSS make no changes to his deck, because as you said, it didn't go great for him last time. This time, though, he's just adjusting his game plan instead. Instead of making that Predator early, which got punished by the mutants, just gone straight double Harvester. He knows he needs the economic advantage. That's what lost him that previous game. He didn't have enough money, right? Lepaka just kept making even trades, which SRPSS can't afford and Lepaka can. So now SRPSS is going, all right, I'm going to have twice as much money as you. Now I can make these even trades over and over and over.
All right, so these boosted bikes coming in hot. They get one volley off, a second volley. Now they're going to take care of it. There it goes. The Razorback actually dies to one bike squad. That is an amazing
boost. That was such a good boost. Anyone who plays boost commanders, if you're watching this game, learn from Lepaka. That's how you play boost commanders. That was absolutely dominant. Look at this. Look how far ahead he is. He kills the Razorback. SRPSS has nothing. He kills a Harvester. It's so good to see. Such strong play from Lepaka. I'm absolutely loving this.
Yeah, that was actually very, very good. And you know what? The thing is, the only reason attack bikes can't deal with Razorbacks is because they take 4.25 seconds between their volleys. So having that extra boost cuts their reload speed down quite a bit, which means that they can deal with it. So that was a very, very calculated play from Lepaka and very good. And these Mutant Marauders are continuing to get value here. Stealth Tank unloads onto that Razorback. Well, not completely, about to though. And there it is, Razorback down. And now missiles about to fire. Here comes the first Titan, but who cares? We got 2 Mutant Marauder squads on these pads. Stealth Tank to back it up, and well, that's a victory for Lepaka.
And there it is again. You win first missile, and the Titan doesn't matter. I know I've said it 1,000 times, but that's how you beat the Titan deck.
All right, here we go, folks. We got finally, we forced SRPSS to change into a different deck and even a different faction. Look at that. It's playing Seth, and that is actually a pretty smart choice here on Stonewall. As we've seen, it's been pretty successful here before. But then Lepaka is going to be playing his Mutant Marauder deck, and you know what? Lepaka is more trained up with this deck. Although, having said that, SRPSS was one of the first originators of the Mutant Marauder Chuggy combination. So
I believe it was him who came up with it, in fact.
Yeah, so having said that, both of these players should be very experienced. I think Lepaka's likely got more hours into this deck than SRPSS does, but still, should be a very fun match to watch.
Yeah, I think after those 2 losses, SRPSS is like, all right, I have to change. Like, Lepaka's got my number. He knows how to beat that deck. And I think the reason he's gone for the Chuggy Marauder is probably that he wants to... I think this might be like an attempt at a flex, mate. Maybe he's like, all right, you want to play that deck? I'm going to play that deck better than you.
Yeah, maybe.
It is a slightly different build, though, so we're going to have to see how it goes.
Yeah, this is actually well, no, actually, is this a classic list that he normally runs? I know he usually ran Banshee with it.
The Banshee, I think, is the only weird thing. Normally, the deck has bikes. There's no bikes. That's the weird thing.
Right. Okay.
Now,
so here we are. We got these Mutant Marauders coming out in huge numbers. Of course, we got 4 squads out on the field. One of them pop capped. And actually, this is a bit of an issue here because Alpaca has got a lot of heavy war factor units, and Ken Buggy is his most efficient unit to deal with them, and it's actually having a hard time dealing with these mutant marauders. So right now, what's happening is Alpaca is pushing these lasers up, but this Ken Buggy is going to clear these mutant marauders in the bottom left first, boosting it, but doesn't quite make it in time. Super, super close though.
The dance from SRPSS keeps that mutant alive long enough. And this also, when we were previously, we were talking about how Alpaca is a little bit weak because he always plays the same deck. This deck that Alpaca plays is very bad versus mutants. Because you only have Chuggy. You only have Chuggy that kills infantry, Chuggy and wheels. So you are bad versus mutants, and that is why SRPSS is making only mutants in this match. Because he is punishing Alpaca for playing the same deck that has a weakness. He's gone, you're going to play the same deck, that deck sucks versus this unit, I'm going to make only that unit.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what we're seeing here. These mutant marauders are very difficult to deal with. It's similar to the APC deck facing off against itself. It can't deal with APC, so very, very similar here. And these mutant marauders with so much health, they got 620 health per member, are able to tank against all of these units. And of course, with no access to getting on the pad, Sets Ripod coming down just to secure it. There it goes. SRPSS takes the second missile, winning the game.
Yep, and again, back the other way, completely dominant. All four of these games have been really one-sided, honestly.
Battlefield control.
Okay, wow, this is actually a complete opposite of what I thought was going to happen. I thought Alpaca was going to go with Tick Tank Nod, and then SRPSS is going to go Titan. But here we've seen a complete flip. We got GDI from Alpaca. He's likely going to be playing that APC deck with Liang. And yep, that's the case. And then SRPSS going with the same Mutant Marauder deck. So this should be a pretty interesting match in general. The Orc and the Stealth Tanks will trade against one another. SRPS does not have Fanatics, so the Stealth Tanks aren't going to get boosted. The APC should be able to be defeated by the Mutant Marauders. And of course, Alpaca only has Drone Swarm on his side to take care of those Mutant Marauders. So generally speaking, I think this is going to be a pretty close match.
Yeah, what's really interesting about this game is because SRPSS brought exactly the same deck and Alpaca went to GDI. Like you say, the mutants do beat up on APC. One of the units that can deal with an APC sitting in the middle of the map. Drone Swarm, however, is going to be really good versus those mutants. And because SRPSS just doesn't have those bikes, he's really weak to Drone Swarm.
Oh yeah, that is true, isn't he? He's got Banshee, of course.
He does have Banshee,
fires pretty slowly.
Banshee's okay, but like, you can't use a Banshee to take out drones when there's an APC covering them, right? Because the APC does too much anti-air damage. So it's a really bad matchup for you. So if Alpaca can secure that build of APC in the middle with drone swarms to help it against mutants, I think he's in really good shape. If SRPSS can keep him off balance and stop that happening, then SRPSS will probably win. Oh, here comes the flip.
So Liang Drone coming down. The drone swarm on the far left, but of course SRPS gets that comeback on the far left, which means that top pad gets cleared by the lasers. So that missile goes to SRPSS, but you know, it was pretty close. It was pretty close. I think Alpaca was just a little bit caught off guard there.
Yeah, and here you see, this is how you beat Liang Steel. SRPSS had lasers on every pad. Liang Steel didn't do anything. Yeah. And the issue here is that Alpaca simply cannot use these rifles against the Chuggy. And this is why the Marauder deck existed. Because everyone was playing these rifle decks, like rifle tank decks. So you'd play Chuggy kills rifles super quickly and mutants would kill the tanks. And that is exactly what we're seeing here. The Chuggy is so dominant against those rifles that it's really hard to get through to the lasers. It's very similar to the missile Razorbacks situation. But now you have Chuggy, Chuggy plus laser. So what Alpaca needs is these Orcas to take out the Chuggies. But here you see he loses it without taking out the Stealth Tank. It's a really big deal. Really sucks for Alpaca there, that happened. And here comes the Seth. The Seth is going to be huge here. I think the Seth is going to steal this missile. Stealth Tank comes in, takes out this Orca. Seth's on the pad, and I think that's going to be it.
Yep.
And I think SRPSS, with some very nice deck selections there, does end up taking it from Alpaca. Wow, what a series.
Establishing battlefield control.
All right, folks, the moment you've all been waiting for, the grand finale of this wonderful tournament that has been so great. Thanks to all the participants and, of course, the people viewing. This has been a wonderful experience. We got Alicia versus SRPSS. Wouldn't have it any other way. And, of course, we got Alicia playing Kane. That is just great. And SRPSS going with Zone Trooper Titan deck. It's interesting.
So, obviously, very... I believe Alicia is trying to counter deck here. The Kane is good versus the Titan deck. I suspect that's why she's going Titan. SRPSS on almost exactly the same as always. Just playing zones instead of Hammerhead. My guess here is the zones are, instead of Hammerhead, to beat Rockworm. That would be my prediction. He expects Alicia to bring Rockworm to counter Titan. He wants zones to counter Rockworm. Alicia instead has gone for an aggro deck with Kayn. So this is going to play out completely differently to how SRPSS was hoping it would.
Yeah, this is going to go very differently, and especially the fact that Alicia has Shade in her deck means that she's going to be able to deal with those Titans pretty reliably, and Fanatics doubled up will deal with those Zone Troopers not too hard, won't be too hard for them to deal with it. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty even match, but yeah, Alicia definitely has brought a strong counter. So speaking of that, here we got the first missile coming down. We got missiles moving onto that bottom pad. Of course, the top pad's occupied by those Fanatics. We've got the swapping going on. Nice movement by Alicia there. And those Fanatics will hold long enough against the Razorback, and there we are. First missile going to Alicia.
Yeah, and of course, as we've said time and time again, the key to beating this deck is to win that first missile. If you don't win that first missile, the tech units will overwhelm you. It does take that first missile. Now, this is pretty rough for SRPSS because he doesn't have his second harvester yet. He's unlikely to make it to those tech units. It even looks like potentially he's just not even going to try. He sees that Kayn. Maybe he thinks, you know what? I'm just going to play a 4-card GDI deck. If I get enough money for the tech, I'm going to do it. But I'm not going in on that plan. Because I don't think he thinks he can get there in time. And I think that's a good choice by him as well. I agree with that assessment. Yep. Losing that first missile as well. I think if he'd won the second missile, or first missile, he would definitely double half. But look at this. Look how strong he's looking right now.
Yeah, this is it, right? This second missile coming down. We got these Razorback missile combination just completely dominating. We got 3 missile squads here shutting things down, and you know what? Alicia just could not contest the pads. The Fanatics were getting too chewed up by those Razorbacks, and you know, losing that first stealth tank was a pretty big deal. She really didn't get a lot of value out of it, unfortunately. And yeah, here we're seeing Alicia getting pushed into a bit of a corner.
Yeah, and Alicia, if you look, she has a lot of money saved up. Like, she has a stealth tank on the field that cost her 100, and she still has 170 in the bank. I don't know if this is unfair to say because it's such an unusual thing for Alicia, but I feel like she didn't know what to do.
It almost did seem that way, didn't it?
I think maybe she was just sitting there going, well, how do I get through this? And now she's back to Fnatic Stealth Tank, which is what you're supposed to do. She's making waves, She's making progress, she's taking out these Razorbacks. I don't know, this could definitely go either way, but it is a classic Fnatic Stank versus Missile Razorback matchup.
That's exactly what we're seeing. Yeah, so this missile's about halfway charged, and of course, this has been some really nice micro from Alicia, swapping her Fanatics and Stealth Tanks out, making sure that she maintains the value, but loses another one there to the wall of missiles that SRPSS has constructed. Now this Razorback about to get deleted, there it goes, and that Stealth Tank gets taken down by the missiles, and so much back and forth here, but most importantly is that Alicia's got the better positioning right now. As long as she can maintain this foothold, she should be able to overcome and take the third missile, but boy, it's getting close.
Yeah, and earlier in the tournament I said that I think the Fnatic Stealth Tank is favored in this matchup of Razorback Missile, and here we're seeing exactly why. This is why I believe that the Fnatic Stealth Tank is favored in this matchup. You can see with the Fanatics, the Stealth Tanks can get in there. That's what's important.
Having said that, though, look at this Razorback coming in as the Stank lost his shot, so the Razorback comes in unharmed. Razorback's going to move up to that top pad. This might be enough. These missiles on the bottom pad doing a really good job. Razorback's going to clear that obelisk as well, and now these missiles are getting some great value from SRPSS. Alicia having a real tough time fighting this. Those bikes on the top squad, will they clear that Razorback in time? And they just do. Missile stalls. Now we need to get on this bottom pad. Fanatics are going to move forward here, but Razorback coming in on behind, and the Razorback should be able to deal with them in time to stall the missile, and it's so close, but there it is. Fanatics make it on time. And all right, Alicia coming back, takes that third missile and wins the first game.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, I think Alicia did take that game, obviously. I think she almost threw it with that Kayn tower. Just to clarify again for everyone in chat, the reason Alicia is 2-0 because she won the winner's bracket. So she starts the match at 1-0. That is why she's now 2-0 and not 1-0 up.
All right, well, here we are. Game number 2 of this exciting series. It is a best of 7 with...
Oh, sorry, guys.
Win the next two, she's going to take the series, but still, we got lots of games to go here, and we're right here on Russian, and let's have a look. So we pretty much got a mirror, except, of course, Zone Troopers versus Predator Tank. Oh, yeah, actually, no, quite a few more differences. We've got War Dogs and versus Riflemen, and then, of course, we've got no missiles on Alicia's side, which is not a surprise.
Alicia is on the deck that SRPSS has been playing a bunch in this tournament, the no infantry deck.
Yeah, so I think SRPSS is favored here, deck-wise.
No, I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. I think the reason to play the no infantry deck is to mitigate the Razorback.
Unit ready.
So I think in a Razorback mirror, that's like SRPSS wants to play the no missile deck in a Razorback mirror because the Razorback is so bad. So the Razorback on SRPSS's side is useless. There's nothing to kill. Whereas the Razorback on Alicia's side is amazing, and Razorback is the best unit in the game, pretty much. So
Yes,
your
that's
Razorback
true.
is negated and your opponent's Razorback is still good. That sucks for you.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Yeah, without any targets for the other Razorback, that does make it a lot better for Alicia. So maybe you're right. That could be the case. Well, we're about halfway charged through this first missile. We got some serious pop capping ongoing with these missiles, of course. They are going to try and take care of this Harvester, but the Razorback's just going to move in one shot and they're gone. But first Titan coming out before the first missile fires. And of course, SRPS doesn't need the pads. He doesn't care about that. He really just wants that dollar. So he's going after that Harvester. It's going to take a real long time for it to get over there. And of course, no surprise, Alicia does take that first missile pretty easily. But yeah, I don't know. Will SRPS get over to those Harvesters? That's the question.
So what comes, like SRPS has played this matchup a lot of times. He knows the winner is the person who makes more Titans. So that's what he's trying to do. He's trying to get his Titan to kill her Titan, to kill her Harvester so he can make more Titans. Alicia, seeing this happening, runs her Harvester away, which is a really good play, and then makes her Titan. Now, she's now killed one of SRPSS's Titans effectively for free because this Liang drone has healed it back up. This is huge. This is a massive deal for SRPSS. And she just killed her own Harvester. That is enormous. That is enormous. Like, I think Alicia's one Titan has killed 2 of SRPSS's now. Alicia is now ahead in the Titan mirror. This is absolute nightmare for SRPSS. He made the right play of identifying that she spent a lot more money than him in the early game, and therefore he could take the Titan lead. But she has simply won that matchup. Her first Titan killed 3 of his. I suspect that he is not happy with how this has gone, and this looks like it's going to be a fairly substantial curb stomp in favor of Alicia now.
Yeah, and so far that seems to be the case. Landing Drone's going to move on to that middle pad and just stall it. Of course, this Pitbull on the far right might clear these dogs, but it's going to take quite a while, taking 2 shots each. These Zone Troopers now coming in aren't going to be enough. And Landing Drone on the far left finally goes down. Of course, Alicia doesn't need to take that pad, but Razorback's going to secure that position. And nice blocking here with the Pitbull from SRPSS, but does get onto the pad. Very unfortunate miss micro from SRPSS. And now, without being able to contest that pad, well, as Alicia takes it.
There it is, Alicia. Yeah, with that first Titan getting so much work done, it killed 2 Titans and her own Harvester, so the SRPSS couldn't get the money.
Okay, potential match point here for Alicia. She is up 3 points, meaning that if she wins this, she will win the entire tournament, taking first place. So this is potentially an important game here for Alicia, but doesn't really matter so much. If she does drop it, she's got lots of opportunities to take the series. So, but let's have a look at these decks. So, well, Rockworm versus Titan, and you know, I don't know. I think Zone Troopers could actually be very good here because Alicia doesn't have a very quick answer to deal with them. She doesn't have Fanatics, which surprises me a little bit, but maybe not too much. But either way, I think SRPSS late game plan is maybe a little better once he gets to those Zone Troopers, but it's so hard to say because of how close these 2 players are. What do you make of this matchup?
I think the SRPSS, this deck with the Zone Troopers, I think is designed to beat this Rockworm deck. That's what I think he wants to play against. I don't think Alicia can ever beat Zone Troopers. Her best unit against Zone Trooper, you might come at me and tell me it's Militants, her best unit against Zone Trooper is Rockworm.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, no joke, that is her best unit against Zone Trooper, and that's how dire the situation is against Zone Trooper. Her best unit is Rockworm, which I'm pretty sure gets crushed by Zone Trooper. I'm 99% sure that Zone Troopers dominate Rockworms, but we'll see when it happens. I'm pretty sure Zones win that fight pretty easily. Of course, what Alicia's likely to do is use the Rockworm to just kill the economy, and then it doesn't matter because you don't have to fight Zone Troopers if there's only 1 or 2 on the field. If you only have 9 Rockworms, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. So, yeah, SRPS here having all 3 pads secured down, also using pop capping to his advantage, was able to take that first missile pretty easily. You know, and timing-wise, like in this matchup, it really doesn't matter too much who takes the first missile. Although, having said that, for SRPSS, going late game is very, very good because he's going to be able to spam these Zone Troopers, and Zone Trooper spam is going to be very, very good against everything that Alicia has. And like you said, the Rockworms are really the best thing here. So I think Alicia here trying to shut down SRPS's economy might be the right call. It's going to be hard to say, though, because we see those Zone Troopers also going to go do the same thing.
Interesting to see SRPSS trying to use the Zone Trooper like they're a Titan and going off the Harvester. And then he doesn't defend his halves. Even the second Zone Trooper doesn't defend. I think he just knows that he's won the first missile. And if he just makes 3 Zone Troopers, he probably wins the second one as well. But we have to wait and see. These boosted Militants are a bit of a problem. And this Zone Trooper up top is only a 1-man zone. I don't know if he can kill these Rockworms in time. I think he might just lose because there's too many hit points on the field.
Yeah, so he spread out all of his zone troopers to hold the pads, and that you might be right. And oh, wait a minute. Oh, it's so close. The zone troopers on this left pad are holding steady against this Rockworm, but Rockworm having 5,000 hit points means that it can take against these zone trooper shots quite reliably, and that's exactly what we're seeing.
And there it
Razorback
is.
moved up top, but isn't
Absolutely.
enough.
And like I said, her best unit against zones is Rockworm. She killed zone troopers with Rockworms. That's what she used to kill zones. Because Rockworm is just a broken unit.
Welcome, citizens.
It is just a broken
And
unit. It just beats zone troopers. But I mean, there was some support from other units a little bit, but generally we just saw Rockworms beating zone troopers, which is nuts.
Well, and a little
Just bananas.
anticlimactic there at the end, but, you know, Alicia forced a surrender out of SRPSS, and that means Alicia is today's victor. So congratulations to her for taking first place, a dominating victory, 4-0 sweep. And so great to her. SRPSS, though, again, you know, like a really strong player as well. We saw him tear his way through the bracket throughout this entire tournament and only fell short right at the very end. So congratulations to him, and also congratulations to our third and fourth place winners who did also an excellent job. And, you know, just overall, a really fantastic tournament.
The third and fourth players, of course, was Lapaka third, and I believe Greeno was fourth place. So congratulations to them as well. And obviously, big congrats to Alicia. Big congrats there. Big congrats to everyone who made some dollar today. Thank you everyone for hanging out. We do still have a couple of things to go through. Obviously, big thank you to everyone who participated. Big thank you to everyone who came and watched. Big thank you to everyone who helped out. So Jeffrey, Kenny, Sarpedon, Viper, all behind the scenes making a big help here today. Kenny especially. Kenny has been doing a sterling job, man. He has been getting all of these games ready to go. Kenny and Sarpedon in the scene, back behind the scenes, getting getting all the games ready, hosting the rooms, everything. Yeah, just really nicely done. But yeah, in terms of the tournament, congratulations, Alicia. Tournament is obviously over now. Well done, Alicia. Again. Big thank you to all the people who donated some money to Alicia. Very generous of you. Thank you everyone who did that. And we'll do our final RNG here. So our final winner is going to be... Final participant winner. Oh, it's number 61 of 61. It is Go Black. Congratulations, Go Black. You are the final vanity winner today of the participants. Alright, guys. So, hope you all enjoyed that tournament.